Inside a classroom, a young man abruptly regains consciousness, jolted awake by a sharp shock. As he processes his surroundings, a realization dawns upon him. He has somehow returned to the time before the college entrance exam. At the Sea Kingdom Aning No. 01 High School, Grade 03, Class 07, the students are quietly engaged in their tasks when, out of nowhere, the young man suddenly jumps up, letting out a loud scream. All eyes turn toward him as he grips his hair in frustration, exclaiming, "What kind of nightmare is this? If I had to be reborn, couldn't it have been after I got into college?" For centuries, the people of Blue Star have been tormented by a terrifying calamity. Secret realm invasions. These mysterious realms serve as gateways to another world. Teeming with fearsome monsters occasionally, these creatures exploit spatial rifts to invade the human world, causing mass destruction. The most formidable of them possess enough power to annihilate entire nations. Endangering human civilization itself. To counter this threat, humanity developed the beast gene system, an innovative method of genetic enhancement. By injecting beast genes, individuals can awaken their own monster template, granting them unique genetic talents. Only these warriors stand a chance of defending the world. As a result, warriors enjoy far greater prestige and privileges than ordinary people. The world of Blue Star has entered an age where martial strength dictates one's status. Everything else is insignificant. Only martial cultivation holds true power. At that moment, a mechanical voice resounds in his mind. World Traversal Introduction. Complete body host for Traversal E. Before he can react, the voice continues, now implanting memories. A flood of unfamiliar recollections invades his mind, causing him to clutch his head in agony. "I'm just a high school student," he mutters in disbelief. A girl from his class glances at him and bursts into laughter. "Look at E, he's having another one of his pathetic nightmares," she mocks. Another student sneers, saying, "And this loser actually thinks he can pass the college entrance exam?" A different girl scoffs, rolling her eyes. "Why doesn't he just drop out already? He's just wasting his time. A failure like him should just go home and become a common worker until he dies." He clenches his fists, thinking to himself that every bullied protagonist story always has its designated lead antagonist. As he pieces things together, he realizes that the original owner of this body must not have had a good reputation in class. His parents suffered a tragic accident in his second year, causing him to lose focus on both training and academics. Once a decent student, his grades plummeted, turning him into a burden on the class average. "So that's what happened," he muses. The girl from before glares at him, her expression filled with annoyance. "What are you looking at?" she snaps. "This is martial arts class. If you're trying to start a fight, then come at me." He furrows his brows. What did he even do? He wasn't looking at anything, just lost in thought. He hadn't been able to study properly before, and now he was the one suffering for it. Just then, the teacher steps forward and addresses the students. "Are you all ready?" he asks. "We're about to begin injecting the genetic modification serum, so have confidence in yourselves. You've spent 3 years building your physique and training your martial energy. All of that effort leads to this moment. As for those who never took it seriously before," he sighs internally. "This has to be a joke. He thinks it's not like I was the one slacking off, but I guess I am now. So what's the point of panicking?" He exhales deeply, resolving that since he has inherited this body, he will do things right and clean up the mess left behind. Inside the gene injection hall at the genetic injection conference, a student whispers to his friend, "What do you think he'll awaken as? Maybe a Tier 3 mountain splitter or a Tier 4 sea bridge dragon?" His friend snickers and replies, "I bet it's gonna be a Tier 1 mutant beast." He bursts into laughter, just as a machine hums to life, revealing several test tubes inside. The teacher steps forward and gestures toward them. "This is the Gene Awakening Serum," he explains. "It contains the primal genetic material of every magical beast recorded by human warriors. Once injected, your body will absorb one at random, awakening a corresponding ability. Generally, the stronger your physique, the more powerful the gene you will awaken. Do not be nervous when the serum is injected. Remain calm and accept the surge of power." He then starts calling names, one by one, as students step forward to receive their injections. As soon as the serum is injected into them, screams of pain fill the hall. He watches in shock, muttering, "Why are they all reacting so strangely? It seems like this won't be easy." He then takes a deep breath. Whatever, I'm going for it. Without hesitation, he injects the serum into his neck. Anxiously, he waits, but nothing happens. He glances at his teacher in confusion. Remaining silent, the teacher observes him, frowning slightly. "You don't seem any different," he remarks. He smirks. "Maybe I got a fake dose," he jokes. Just then, the same girl from earlier bursts into laughter. "Look at him," she sneers. "It looks like he didn't awaken anything at all." She crosses her arms smugly. "A warrior who fails to awaken is like a bird without wings. Isn't he completely useless now?" Her smirk widens. "This suits you just fine now. You don't have to pretend to be a warrior. Just go home and wait to die." He sighs, thinking, "This girl is so damn annoying. She's always leading the bullying against me." Suddenly, an unexpected sensation washes over him. His eyes widen in surprise. This feeling. The system's voice rings in his mind. "Congratulations, host. You have acquired the infinite monster template." A panel appears before his eyes, displaying his newly unlocked stats. The girl notices his strange expression and glares. "What are you doing?" she demands. "If you didn't awaken, then stop pretending." Ignoring her, he raises his gaze and firmly states, "Get out of here." She scoffs. "And why should we?" she retorts. He exhales, eyes glowing with an eerie intensity. "If you don't leave now," he warns, "then it will be too late." The moment he unleashes his power, an invisible shockwave erupts from his body. The girl, caught off guard, is sent flying backward. Gasps fill the hall. "What was that?" A student exclaims. "What kind of power is this?" Another stammers, "'Tis aura, it's overwhelming." One by one, the students stagger backward, unable to withstand the force. A girl locks eyes with Ihi, stunned. Another student mutters, "Is there someone even stronger than me here?" At that moment, the system's voice chimes in once more.
Rank template unlocked med flame demola bloodline ability scorching breath.
Molten pulse spore absorption advanced form flame lord demola. Unlocks when compatibility reaches 100. He grins, "So this is my golden finger." "Huh?" he muses. The stunned students whisper among themselves. "Was that really EE just now?" One asks in disbelief. "He just used his aura alone to blow everyone away." Another gasps, "Even Wang Xing got knocked out. And she awakened a second-tier magical beast, Flame Claw Scorpion. What kind of template did he get?" Someone exclaims. He exhales and shrugs. "Sorry about that," he says coolly. "I didn't mean to make such a scene while awakening. I told you all to step back, but you wouldn't listen." Just then, a loudspeaker crackles to life. "Attention. All awakened third-year students must now proceed to the testing building to evaluate their magical beast gene and martial arts level." I repeat, in the gene breakthrough detection room, the teacher gestures toward a massive scanning device. "This will determine your magical beast bloodline and martial level." He explains. Students murmur as a broadcast announces, "Li Yuan from our class awakened a Tier 3 magical beast bloodline, Swift Spine Bug." Excited whispers spread. "He was just average before, but now he's number 1. Another broadcast follows. "Chu Ho has awakened a Tier 3 Ice Demon Dragon bloodline." Gasps erupt. "That's insane," a student exclaims. "He's a level 9 martial apprentice already, and now this? He's guaranteed to be Hing City's champion." Everyone wonders if they saw it correctly, asking what exactly Miss Lu, who is also a level 9 martial apprentice, awakened. The answer stuns them. It's a stage 04 rare bloodline, Nether Sparrow, making her the top scorer in the province. The crowd whispers that if a stage 4 bloodline beast were to reveal its true form, it could wipe out most of a city. Against such a beast, ordinary warriors are as insignificant as ants, and only grandmasters stand a chance against them. Yet he watches the broadcast, thinking that all the awakened beast templates so far are classified as stage 3 or stage 4, so why is his categorized as a class? Just then, the teacher calls for He to step forward, catching him off guard. He mutters to himself that this is getting out of hand. As he walks toward the machine, he notices the way everyone's eyes are gleaming with curiosity, making him realize just how much this world truly revolves around martial power. As he steps inside, a student comments that with the aura he unleashed earlier, his level must be high. Another wonders what kind of bloodline could possibly exert such a terrifying level of pressure. After awakening, they murmur that their class is witnessing a major breakthrough. And one of them, observing Yehi, muses to himself that this guy might be someone worth looking forward to. Yehi steps into the machine, and when the results appear, the screen displays Martial Disciple Stage 3, Beast's Bloodline, Unknown. The room falls silent before erupting into laughter. The students mock him, saying he's only a Stage 3 martial disciple, joking that even their younger siblings in middle school could easily defeat him. They continue taunting him, questioning what kind of decent bloodline someone at Stage 3 could possibly have. They conclude that everything earlier must have just been an overhyped bluff, calling him the same hopeless loser as before. Yehi steps out of the machine unfazed, thinking that just as he expected, the template wasn't detected. However, this activated a prompt from the Infinite Monster template. He realizes that although his template rank might differ from theirs, this means he can continue acquiring monster templates infinitely as long as he meets the conditions. The thought excites him, and he starts laughing uncontrollably. He exclaims that this means he could become the king of monsters even at the high school level. In his teacher's office, his instructor asks if he really intends to take a break and study at home before returning for the college entrance exam. He questions whether Yehi genuinely believes he will study at home. Yehi insists that he truly wants to improve, admitting that he has fallen too far behind and must undergo special training. He explains that if he simply follows everyone else's pace, then he has no hope of succeeding. The teacher sighs, telling him that he understands, but the only way to become a warrior is by going to college. He acknowledges that Yehi has awakened a bloodline, but his foundation is still too weak. There's no way he'll pass the entrance exam, so he should prepare to repeat the year and try again next time. He advises Yehi not to rush things, but Yehi insists that he is desperate to improve. He pleads with his teacher, explaining that he has awakened a powerful bloodline, and as long as he trains hard, he can absolutely succeed. He asks the teacher to look into his eyes, assuring him that he would never lie about something like this. The teacher studies his expression and finally mutters, "Those eyes, they do seem sincere." After a moment, he relents but warns Yehi that he will still be coming back to repeat the year next year at the Aining Warrior Center. Yehi calculates that his parents' house was mortgaged for $600,000, and after receiving over $1 million in accident compensation, he now has a decent amount of startup capital. He considers two paths to improve his strength. One is leveling up as a warrior, and the other is increasing the contract rate with the Tamora template. He recalls the data from the Infinite Monster template, which states that each template starts with only 1 point of compatibility. However, Tamora had 3 points. So where did the other 2 come from? The only logical explanation is that the Tamora template absorbed the power from the Genetic Awakening Serum, increasing its compatibility by 2 points. This discovery proves that gene-related serums in this world can directly enhance template abilities. Instead of training endlessly like a regular warrior, investing money to raise template compatibility seems like the better path. With this realization, he decides to purchase gene-enhancing serum as soon as possible. At the market, he swipes his student ID card when, suddenly, he is overwhelmed by a strange sensation. He can feel the auras of everyone around him. He quickly realizes that everyone here has awakened their bloodline after awakening the Mad Flame Demola template. He gained its unique sensory ability, Life Magnetic Field. This allows Demola to detect the life signals emitted by creatures through the release of its magnetic field. Now, he can clearly sense the warrior's energy and blood burning like roaring flames within them, as well as the primal beast instincts hidden in their bloodlines. The rush is intoxicating, and he struggles to contain his growing urge to fight. After all, Mad Demola is the king of beasts in its world, the supreme ruler of all life. Unfortunately, at this moment, he is still just a rookie. He has no choice but to suppress Demola's fighting instincts for now. However, once he becomes stronger, he will let the world witness what it truly means to be the king of beasts. Just as he is lost in thought, a girl suddenly grabs his shoulder and warns him not to go around picking fights with people so carelessly. He looks at her, confused, and tells her that he didn't mean to. She simply shrugs, telling him it's fine and assuming that he must have recently awakened his monster gene, making it difficult to control his newfound powers. She then asks what brings him to the warrior center. Ahei replies that he's here to buy genetic medicine, but this place is massive and he can't find his way around. He asks if she could help him out. Hearing this, she raises an eyebrow and asks, genetic medicine? You're already planning to use it at this stage? Yeah, he looks at her, surprised, and asks if there's something wrong with that. She shakes her head, explaining that while there's nothing inherently wrong with it, genetic medicine isn't cheap. On top of that, frequent use can lead to resistance buildup, making it less effective over time. Most warriors wait until their bloodline power reaches a bottleneck before using it to maximize its effects. Yehi then asks how much a single gene potion costs. She tells him that at his current stage, he can only use the solid-type beginner potion, which costs around 400,000. His eyes widen in shock. That price is outrageous. Even if he emptied his entire savings, he couldn't afford to buy more than 5 of them. Realizing this, he hesitates before asking if she knows anyone who might be able to give him a discount. Without missing a beat, she takes out a black card and smirks. How about this, she says, handing it to him along with a business card. She explains that with a veteran warrior referral, he can get a discount. Yehi looks down at the card and is stunned when he sees her name, Wan Healy, a 4th-ranked martial artist. He thanks her before leaving, and she simply waves him off, saying they'll meet again if fate allows it. After that, Yehi takes a deep breath, thinking, alright, next up, insane spending spree. Without hesitation, he starts purchasing everything he needs. After that, in his room, Yehi is screaming in agony as his body radiates an immense aura. After some time, he exhales sharply, saying, so this is what leveling up feels like with every injection of the gene potion. His physique enhanced, though by the final dose, the improvement was barely noticeable. It seems that, as his body strengthens, fundamental mutations become increasingly difficult to trigger. He then smirks, saying, not bad at all. In mere minutes, he has gained what others struggle for 3 years to achieve. And that's just using his base physical stats. If he activates Daimola's bloodline power, then maybe he truly has a chance at becoming the top scorer in the exam. He then scoffs, saying, if even cheat modes can't surpass geniuses, then this cheat is way too weak. He decides he should head to the secret realm. Secret realm rifts are classified from S to higher ranks, indicate stronger beasts inside beasts within class realms are completely uncontrollable by humans. If they ever breach into the real world, it would spell an apocalyptic catastrophe. At S stage number 3, an 11 secret realm, Ahei observes the surroundings, commenting that there are fewer people present than he anticipated. Perhaps it's because this secret realm has been explored for too long. Being an old realm, any valuable resources it once had have likely been plundered already, leaving only weak beasts for rookie warriors to train against. Ahei then approaches the counter, telling the staff that he has booked a ticket for secret realm number 3. The staff member hands him a death waiver, stating that signing it is mandatory before entering. Holding his ticket, Ahei strides forward, staring at the swirling void ahead. So this is a secret realm rift, he mutters, his grin widening. This is the beginning of my rise. To become the king of beasts. Without hesitation, he leaps into the rift. As soon as he lands inside, he looks around in awe, saying, even though I studied secret realm rifts in textbooks, seeing one firsthand is something else. It's truly breathtaking. I can even see the starry sky. Just as he is marveling at the scenery, a first-rank beast, Blade Fong Rabbit, suddenly appears behind him, lunging at him instantly. Ahei grabs the beast midair, sneering, did it really think I wouldn't notice it? Using his life magnetic field ability, he swiftly slays the beast. Picking up the magic core, he examines it, noting that the Blade Fong Rabbit's core is white and of average quality, likely worth around 1,000 yuan. He smirks, realizing that he has already made 1,000 yuan within minutes of entering. That's efficiency. Ordinary people toil for an entire month and barely make 3,000 to 4,000 yuan, yet low-level cores aren't worth much. If he wants real profit, he needs to find at least a second-rank beast. Just as the thought crosses his mind, a demon corpse bug, a second-rank beast, suddenly appears before him. Ahei grins, saying, speak of the devil. At the E-class secret realm, Ahei engages in battle with the beast, recalling what he read in the encyclopedia compared to its steel-like shell on its back. The soft armor on its abdomen is its weak point. Just then, the demon corpse bug lunges at him, catching him off guard. Ahei counters with his martial arts move Hyper Beam. Striking the beast, however, nothing happens. The demon corpse bug retaliates, firing projectile mandibles at him. Ahei, dodging, exclaims, "Wait, it can fire projectiles too?" One of the projectiles grazes his jacket, tearing it slightly. He scowls. Angered, "Do you have any idea how expensive this outfit is?" Realizing that his current martial artist level isn't enough to deal significant damage, he laments that despite having deep dantian energy and strong blood vitality, his lack of powerful martial techniques restricts him to just 50 of his full strength. This is because his original body was such an academic failure, he has no choice but to cheat. Ahei then activates his ability, Mad Daimola Emperor Demon Bloodline. His body undergoes a monstrous transformation. The beast lunges at him, but this time, he rushes inside the demon corpse bug, tearing it apart from within and killing it instantly. He smirks, declaring that with his overall physique skyrocketing to 21 points, he completely obliterated the Tier 2 demon corpse bug. As he deactivates his transformation, his body overheats, forcing him to expel the excess energy. He compares himself to a jet engine, radiating intense heat. Glancing at his sword, he frowns, noticing that its blade is corroded by the demon corpse bug's venom. A 250,000 yuan weapon couldn't even withstand a Tier 2 monster? What a scam! The quality control is garbage. He then realizes that his energy consumption during battle was too high, leaving him feeling famished. His stomach growls, and suddenly, an unfamiliar aroma fills the air. What's that smell? It's so fragrant his gaze falls upon the magic core of the demon corpse bug. The green core emits an enticing fragrance without hesitation. He declares, "Who cares?" and devours it. The moment he swallows it, his body undergoes an unexpected transformation. Shocked, he exclaims, "My compatibility increased?" He recalls that he spent hundreds of thousands on genetic potions, yet they only increased his compatibility by 1, whereas this single green magic core boosted it by 0.3. If 3 or 4 of these cores are equal to an entire potion, then the white magic cores from the Blade Fang rabbits must provide at least 1 compatibility each. He clenches his fists, frustrated. Did I just waste all my money paying to win? Turning his frustration into determination, he declares, "Fine tonight, I'll hunt to my heart's content." Activating his life magnetic field, he prepares for battle. By the following afternoon, he exits the secret realm. Thinking that after reaching 9 compatibility, consuming more magic cores will no longer increase his compatibility. Instead, he decides to sell them. He takes inventory, 20 white magic cores and 1 green magic core. When he approaches the receptionist, she looks stunned, asking, "Are you serious? A mere high school student managed to collect this many magic cores?" He casually responds, "According to the government's regulations, martial artists must submit 1/10 of their loot. For 1 green magic core, I need to hand in 5 white magic cores." As he leaves, he mentally counts his earnings, 200,000 SIA Kingdom credits in hand. With 9 days remaining until the college entrance exam, at the aiming no. Class secret realm, several figures sit outside, waiting. Inside a car, a man calls Captain Lin, asking if they should be able to complete the Blood Jade Flower bounty mission this time. Captain Lin responds that during their previous exploration, they had already pinpointed the general location of the Blood Jade Flower. However, since Old Chin was injured by a monster, he won't be joining them in the secret realm this time. A girl sighs, saying that means we're down to just 5 people. Another guy agrees, reminding her that the rules require at least 6 people to enter a class secret realm. Captain Lin reassures them, stating that he has already contacted an agency to introduce them to a new martial artist. Ahei is a Tier 2 martial artist. Just then, Ahei arrives when Captain Lin asks if he is that martial disciple level 9 from Dad's Law. Ahei agrees while thinking that since he is still a student and not qualified to enter a class secret realm, he had to use an illegal agency to create a fake identity to join a team. Cost him 100,000 credits, such a rip-off. Captain Lin tells him that his name feels a bit off. Ahei responds that he has no choice. If he used his real name, it would violate copyrights. Captain Lin tells him to just forget it, as it's just a code name anyway. At his martial disciple level 9 strength, he really doesn't qualify for a class secret realm. Their team will allow him to observe and learn, but he shouldn't slow them down. Ahei agrees while thinking that clarifying responsibilities before a mission is actually quite reliable, better than being screwed over mid-session. They all then drive into the secret realm, declaring, "Let's go this time, they must find the blood jade flower." Inside the realm, Captain Lin tells everyone that according to the tracker, the blood jade flower is in an oasis ahead, guarded by a tier 2 monster with a general level bloodline. Ahei thinks that last time it was a rainforest and now it's a desert. It seems that secret realms aren't connected to just one world. Inside the car, a guy tells their captain that the earth demon rats have locked onto them. Captain Lin calls the guy Hood, asking him to take care of it. Hood agrees, taking out some daggers and throwing them toward the beasts. The daggers hit the beasts and then explode, killing them instantly. As Hood reports that they're eliminated, Ahei watches him, thinking that infusing martial energy into a throwing dart makes it explode like a bomb upon impact. This guy is ruthless and doesn't say much. After some time, they are walking when Ahei asks, "Why aren't we driving?" There's still some distance to the oasis. Captain Lin explains that the monsters in the oasis are highly sensitive, and the sound of an off-road engine would definitely alert them, so they must distribute tasks while walking. Captain Lin then instructs Xie to throw a stun grenade later to lure the beast out. He tells Xiao Wu and Hood to set up traps, Old Lu to provide suppressive fire, and he will handle the front lines. He tells Ahei to just observe. Ahei agrees. After that, Xie throws the grenade. The stun grenade contains high-level monster pheromones, making some beasts think their territory is being invaded, which will attract them. Just then, from the noise, a tier 2 earth dragon appears. Captain Lin warns Ahei to be careful, as the monster is approaching. Deep within the smoke, a guy stands holding daggers while laughing crazily. Captain Lin engages in battle with the demonic beast, beheading it with a single slice. As the beast collapses, everyone rushes toward Captain Lin, cheering that the earth dragon is dead. Captain Lin sheaths his weapon and urges his team members to keep moving forward. Just as he is saying this, suddenly, the beast raises its arm and charges toward Captain Lin, catching him off guard. His team members shout for him to watch out. Just then, Ahei leaps into the air, landing on top of the beast and using his power beam to attack. A massive explosion erupts as Captain Lin watches in shock, realizing that despite being just a martial novice, Ahei has the power to shake a tier 2 beast. Xie exclaims, "What a powerful punch!" After Ahei lands, Xiaoya claps, praising that his mountain-crushing heavenly fist took down the beast. Qin grabs Ahei, exclaiming that he actually killed a tier 2 magical beast. Ahei shrugs, saying it's no big deal. Captain Lin thanks him for saving him, declaring that from now on, they are companions. After that, they extract the beast's heart. A guy tells Captain Lin that the earth dragon has been taken down. They also manage to collect the earth dragon's soul essence this time, calling it a great harvest. Xiao looks at the heart, marveling that the red, shiny object is worth so much. Ahei examines it, thinking that it looks like a large fruit. Captain Lin agrees, explaining that this thing can greatly enhance the template. Captain Lin remarks that it was a close call this time, but at least they were able to defeat the dragon and find the blood jade flower. Just as he is speaking, suddenly Hood stabs Captain Lin in the back, saying there's no point in thinking about it now. Everyone is shocked, calling out to Captain Lin as Old Lu rushes toward him. Demanding an explanation, Captain Lin retaliates, but Hood jumps back. Captain Lin demands to know what Hood is doing. Another guy steps forward, smirking, "Doing what? Isn't it obvious? He is clearly here to strike at the rich." Everyone stares at the big guy, calling him Hoping Hinging. Hinging removes his glasses, turning to Qin, asking if they recognize this bald guy. Qin explains that Hinging robs martial artists of their loot in dungeons. He has set his eyes on them now. Captain Lin warns everyone that Hood's blade is poisoned. Calling him a traitor, he demands to know how they even learned about this place, considering his own teammates only discovered the blood jade flower's location after entering the dungeon. Just then Ahei recalls the earlier attack, realizing that the dart must have contained embedded information. Hood laughs, saying that Ahei is pretty smart. He suggests Ahei head back to school since the college entrance exams are approaching instead. He's here walking hand in hand with death. Ahei agrees, saying the exam is coming up, and he has a top scorer title waiting for him. Hearing this, Hood scoffs, calling him arrogant, then throws a dart at him. Ahei effortlessly stops the dart, Sneering, you disgusting bald freak barking at me, that's true arrogance. He then remarks that they're so noisy, and it's time to take out the trash. Unleashing his power, Hinjing observes him curiously, telling Hood that he wants this kid's head. Hood agrees and launches a flurry of daggers at Ahei. Just then, Ahei unleashes his power, obliterating all the incoming daggers. Dust and debris scatter everywhere when Cho warns Ahei to be careful. Hood is gone. She then shouts that Hood is above him. Ahei activates his mountain splitter technique. Thinking it's the perfect chance to test his new skill, he strikes Hood, piercing through him. Captain Lin is shocked, exclaiming that Ahei one-shot Hood with a single move. Could he really be just a martial novice? Hood collapses, unconscious. Hoping grins, asking which great family Ahei belongs to. Hei scoffs, saying family? He's from Dianra, and asks if Hoping is planning to beg for mercy. Hoping clenches his fists in anger, roaring that even with gene techniques, he can't close the martial gap. He then activates his bloodline ability, Tyrant Terror Black Bear. His body transforms as he unleashes his peak shaker technique, rushing toward Ahei. Ahei dodges, targeting Hoping's legs. Hoping screams in pain before counterattacking, but Ahei dodges again, commenting that Tier 2 martial artists truly are something else. His atomic breath couldn't even melt Hoping's ankle bone. Just then, Hoping attacks again, causing a massive shockwave. Ahei leaps onto Hoping, smirking, "Are you done? Now it's my turn." He then transforms his body, unleashing his core-fused mountain-crushing fist, brutally striking Hoping down as Hoping lies on the ground. Everyone stares at Ahei in shock, murmuring that he's unbelievably strong. Hoping, injured, mutters that Ahei actually has a gene technique that emits toxic gas. Calling him despicable, he curses him, saying wicked martial artists like him will surely face punishment. Ahei sneers, "People cursing me just keep piling up, so who am I supposed to be?" While glaring at him after some time at Central Sports Stadium, Oven City, announcement happened, "Hello students. This year's General Higher Martial Arts School enrollment is about to begin. I would like to wish you all good luck in martial arts. The college entrance examination adopts a competition system. Candidates compete in pairs. The winner advances to the next round. The exam lasts for 3 days, with the first 2 days being auditions, and the students who advance will take the exam on the third day. Each student will fight 3 matches in the auditions, and the students who get promoted successfully will compete all the way until the top scorer of this year's college entrance examination is selected. What you prospects carry on your backs are the future of humanity. So please, show your true potential during this examination for both yourself and for humanity. I hereby announce, the in-city higher examinations have now officially begun." After some time, fighting began at Arena No. 1 and Arena number 4, but on Arena number 6 there is only one person on stage. Seeing that, announcer say, "Huh?" The audition for the number 6 ring seems to have encountered a problem, and one candidate has not arrived yet. After that, announcer continue, "I took a look, and the 2 contestants are Huang Tong Tong and Yihian City number 1 middle school. Only Huang Tong Tong is in the ring. According to the rules, if Yihian still doesn't show up after the competition begins, he will be considered as a forfeit." Girl on stage say, "Being made a fool of during the genetic conference was the biggest embarrassment of my life. I thought that I could use my fire lizard to humiliate Yihian this time, but that scumbag actually hid and dared not come out. Humph, what a bummer." After that, people start saying, "What a coward. Does he not even dare to come for the college entrance examination? He must be shivering in his bed at home. Ha, this kind of coward shouldn't even go to high school. He should just go sweep the streets." Referee on stage say, "Time is up," and City No. 1 middle school Iha has abandoned, and before he can finish on other side, one old man and one man send something in air, and that man say, "Something is coming." Old man also say, "What an enormous aura." As everyone look in air, they notice someone falling from the sky. Is that a person? It was none other than our protagonist. People say, "What kind of power is that which can allow him to fly in the sky?" After that, Iha fell on the ground with a powerful impact. Girl on stage see that and say, "What the hell is going on?" But before she finished speaking, Iha's leg was right in front of her face, and Iha sent her flying out. After that, he say, "That was close. I almost needed to come back next year." Then we see the girl was already defeated, and referee announced that Iha has won. Iha, in his mind, he was dissatisfied and say, "Just like that? No way. After seeing him defeat the girl in one attack, people start saying, this Iha is so strong. He defeated his opponent with just one kick. The way he made his appearance is also so cool. Is this the mythical kick that comes from the sky? System message appears. Host, Iha. Overall fitness, 226. Monster template, Savage Trace, Diamera, compatibility 20. Iha smiles and say, Captain Lin gave me the blood jade fruit to thank me, but it took some time for the blood jade fruit to improve my physique. Now you can relax and enjoy what comes next. After that, tournament continues, announcement happen, and city number 4 middle school Longtao against and city number 1 middle school Iha. Iha wins. And city number 3 middle school Longtao against and city number 1 middle school Iha. Iha wins. People start cheering for him. Iha is so strong. Every battle is resolved with one kick, never dragging things out. He is simply a one-kick Superman. Announcement happened once again, and city number 1 middle school Iha has won all 3 matches and advanced to the 3rd round. After some time, people gather around Iha and start saying, Student Iha, come learn more about Dongshan University. One girl say, Student Iha, please add me on WeChat. But there are more people who start saying, Student Iha, although we are a private university, we have generous grants and scholarships. Please check us out, Student Iha. Our university needs a strong warrior like you. Suddenly girl asks question, Student Iha, do you have a favorite university? Iha looks at them, a favorite university? After that, he confidently say, apologies, I want to enter Huadu University. After hearing that, all people start leaving and say, you are so arrogant after entering the finals, but you will come to us for help when you are slapped in the face later. Another say, Student Iha, remember to contact me if you fail. Iha speak. No, you all just don't believe that I can do it? But it's not their fault. Huadu University is the best martial arts university in Xia country and one of the top 5 universities in the world. It is a holy place in the hearts of all martial artists. After that, he smiled maliciously. In a second-tier city like in city, only the top few are qualified to enter that holy land. Forget it, after all, warriors speak with strength. They'll see your faces when I win first place. Before he can do anything, 2 people come near him and one of them say, Student Iha, we request your cooperation. We are going reevaluate your martial arts level now. After getting result, that guy was shocked. Martial arts 9th level. Student Iha, you were only a martial arts 3rd level half a month ago. He thinks it is impossible to improve so fast in just 3 months. You are implying that I am cheating, right? The guy from before continue, but after checking, we found that you frequently went to the E-level secret realm after leaving school. Why did you go to such a dangerous place before the college entrance? Iha replied, it was to find myself. Before my father passed away, he left me a message, if you want to surpass humanity, then you must not be a human. So I kept going to the secret realm to fight, and in one such battle I broke through my own genetic lock. After hearing that, both of guys' face turns pale in shock. What? You broke through your genetic lock? After that, both of them start running and saying that's not possible, we must report this immediately. Iha looks at them. It's that some way and somehow Eve become an important observation target. Sometime later, he opened social media where one guy was saying all the best. My son. One woman was, dear, you just need to do what you can. Another one saying, old Wong, once you pass the double first class exam, we will host a banquet for you. Iha, while looking at the phone, say, there are even live streams conducting street interviews on the parents and friends of the examinees. His thoughts change and he say, but there's no one who can cheer me on. I'm really an orphan that no one cares about. But what he didn't know was that his teacher was cheering from home for his student to win. Scene swift to tournament ground where Iha was standing. An announcement happened. First match of the promotion round in city number 1 middle school, Iha and city number 3 middle school Luocian. People start saying it's Luocian. I remember he was first place amongst those from number 3 middle school. Big brother Luocian is a martial arts 8th level, awakened rare 2nd level magical beast bloodline, and both parents are warriors. His opponent is finished. Iha looks at him arrogantly and say, you can have the first move. Guy replied, Iha, do you not know who I am? Iha say, regardless of whether I know or not, the outcome of the competition would not change. Hearing that, guy become more angry and use technique saying, what you said is correct. The outcome is that I will definitely win. Guy use martial art dashing lightning claw and run towards Iha saying, I hope your luck is good. If not, you will die here. Just as guy's hand was about to reach Iha, Iha grabs guy's hand say, your momentum is good, But you are far from the collision force of that bald old man. That guy was powerless in front of Yis grip. After that Iha lift his leg and deliver powerful attack and knock out that guy. After that Iha looks up and says, "Are there no decent examinees at all?" And referee announced, and city number 1 middle school. Iha wins. Announcement continues. Another instant KO, and the one defeated this time is the seeded contestant. Luo Xian. Seeing that people lost their minds, what the fuck? That Luo Xian looked so powerful, but why is he lying on the ground in an instant? Calm as clouds, steady as the breeze. The mark of a true master. His skills exist on a completely different level from the other examinees. The gap is just too huge, and one girl even say, "So cool, I want him to make me pregnant." Fans continue saying, although he used his hands this time, it's still a one-hit KO so strong. As expected of one kick man. Iha, I like you. Iha is definitely making it to the finals. One guy look at Iha and say, as expected of the man Eve got my eye on. He'll defeat you in that final round. Inside live broadcast room of Huadu University's admissions office, one guy say, in 30 minutes I want all the information about him, and people under his control reply, yes. At another arena, the second group's advancement matches are in full swing. One guy from spectators say, holy crap, a battle between genius beauties. I, Lu Ilio, am officially tuning in. One of girl on arena say, young Miss Lu, I really can't stand that robot-like expression of yours. And this girl is Kai Shaoling, known as the Queen of Anqing Second Senior High. And her opponent is Lu Qingzhu, the unattainable flower of Anqing First Senior High. Spectators commented, nothing better than watching beauties fight. Another say, keep it in your pants, you horny men. Suddenly referee blows whistle and say, match begin. As soon as this happens, Kai Shaoling flew in air saying, all right, let's see how well you can keep up that act when Eve got you pinned to the ground. But Lu Qingzhu use martial skill Lu family secret art sutra of transient splendor and block attack. After that Kai Shaoling back off little and use martial skill howling gale step saying, get serious already. But as she touched Lu Qingzhu body, she realized, oh no, I fell into her trap, my hands trapped in the swirling air current she created. I can't pull free. And suddenly Lu Qingzhu use Xianhuang martial skill primordial chaos finger announcer get excited saying, Xianhuang martial skill. A college entrance exam candidate actually mastered a Xianhuang technique. With this level of martial talent, she doesn't even need the exams to prove herself. She could get direct admission to Huadu University. But Kai Shaoling use bloodline awakening, shadow claw tiger king technique and block attack. After that Kai Shaoling get back little announcers say, this girl actually awakened a third-tier royal bloodline, the shadow claw tiger king. Royal bloodlines are notoriously hard to control, let alone the notoriously ferocious shadow claw tiger. This girl's future is limitless. Kai Shaoling look at Lu Qingzhu and say, now show me your nether phoenix bloodline. Lu Qingzhu with robot-like expression say, this is enough. Kai Shaoling jump in air. This is enough. You think anyone below martial artist level can challenge me? But Lu Qingzhu use Lu family secret art and block attack. After that she use transient splendor phantom to attack, but Kai Shaoling use martial skill fierce tigers crippling kick and block attack. After that Lu Qingzhu use primordial chaos jade finger. As soon as their attack collided to each other, there was massive energy burst. Announcement echo throughout the arena. Lu Qingzhu and Kai Xiaoling's martial energies collided with tremendous force. The arena was engulfed in a cloud of dust from the impact. People are waiting to see the result of fight, who would emerge victorious in the end. After that, they see Kai Shaoling and announcement echo, it's Kai Shaoling, she's the one still standing in the arena. But suddenly Kai Shaoling eyes become darken and fall on the ground. Seeing that announcement change, Kai Shaoling collapsed in exhaustion. Lu Qingzhu is still standing in the arena with nothing but martial techniques. She completely overwhelmed Kai Shaoling, who was also at the 9th stage of martial disciple and had awakened a royal bloodline. Truly worthy of being called a once-in-a-century genius. Lu Qingzhu victorious. After that, people start gossiping about online holy. Queen Lu is too strong, absolutely legendary. I'm calling it now, she's going to be Anqing City's top scorer. Anyone disagree? To the guy above who said she'll be top scorer, do you even know what bloodline she awakened? A 4th tier nether phoenix. Fourth tier bloodline, what kind of monster is this? Most actual martial artists wouldn't even stand a chance against her. After some time at top 8 advancement tournament draw ceremony announcement happened. Next up for the draw. Anqing first senior high he put his hand in and take out the ball. The ball has written on it. Suddenly one massive guy come near he and says, I'm also in group A. Looks like we'll be facing each other. I'm Xingguan from Qingfeng Private High. Protagonist reply, he, Anqing first senior high. After that, Xingguan point his finger sideways and say, we're up second, let's watch the first match first. Announcement happened top 8 advancement tournament match 1011. Qingfeng Private High versus Chouzhou, Anqing first senior high. And we see one TV screen where one guy was standing strong and other one was defeated. Xingguan say, Luo 11 is strong, he repeated a grade. Specifically grinding this year to get into Huadi University. His bloodline awakening control is really polished, but against that Chouzhou, he didn't even stand a chance. He asked Chouzhou. Xingguan reply, yeah, also from your school. Don't tell me you didn't know. Announcement winner Chouzhou, Anqing first senior high. Saying that principal of Qingfeng Private High say, damn, it lost right out the get. He ask, how does that Luo 11 compare to you? Xingguan reply while scratching his head. To me? Heh, I'm the martial arts club president at Qingfeng Private High's senior year level. In terms of combat power, my 2 other teammates combined still couldn't take me down, but suddenly, his eyes narrowed as he say, honestly, for this year's exams, I think you're the only real threat. In his mind, he think, since childhood, my senses have been unusually sharp. I can tell, Chi, you're like a dormant volcano. There's a beast inside you. After that, he point at arena and say, let's go a turn now. As soon as both of them reach on arena, announcement happens. Top 8 advancement tournament match to Xingguan, Qingfeng Private High versus he, Anqing first senior high. The competition for the top 8 to 4 in An City's college entrance examination is in full swing. He versus Xingguan, both sides are equally strong. As soon as both of the punch collided, there was massive outburst of energy. And soft lawn was enough to scare the spectators. Xingguan get nosebleed and he say, a nosebleed? Is this an ability of your bloodline? After that, Xingguan say, it's truly mysterious to be able to directly target cells for destruction. Meanwhile, he lost in thought. Xingguan used his martial energy to create a barrier on his body surface, shielding the nuclear radiation from outside. After that, he say, what an amazing martial art. And Xingguan say, this fellow in front of me is really a monster not to be trifled with. After that, he continue releasing his power more and more and say, then I shall also let you see the martial arts that have been passed down from generation to generation in our Sun family. And use Shapal fist with deer peak. He look at that attack and think, it's fast, but before he can react, Xingguan punch was already landed on him. Referee say, so strong. He, who was previously known as One Kick Superman, was hit for the first time. Can be seen how powerful Xingguan's Shapal fist is. And he spit out some blood from his mouth. After that, he back off little. But Xingguan run to him saying, you can't run, and use spare crash. But this time he managed to block that attack. While blocking this attack, he think Xingguan's attack was not simply a physical attack. He integrated his martial energy into his body, causing double damage. My opponents before him were all weak chickens. They had no experience fighting against a powerful adversary. Suddenly Xingguan changes his position and grab he from behind and say, you are half right. Not only can I inject martial energy into my body, I can also lock your martial energy, rendering you incapable of using martial arts. After that, Xingguan use a pearl and throw he in air. Then he used tiger pounce to jump in air and then hit he. When he was falling down, Xingguan activate eagle dive and say, you cannot win against me. After that, there was massive explosion as soon as they hit the ground. Xingguan stand up as if nothing was happen, saying, ha, that was satisfying. Referee say, Xingguan's series of moves left he without any chance to fight back. The medical staff outside the venue were already ready to go. In the shape wolf fist combination skills that Xingguan had just used would have killed even an ordinary martial artist. It looks like the winner has been decided. The winner from Qingfeng High School is. But before he can finish speaking, something unexpected happened. Xingguan noticed something. He looked back at arena and there was massive amount of aura saying that he say, What an enormous amount of aura. Suddenly he step out of that aura saying, "You are indeed very strong, Xingguang." After that he activate awakening bloodline and completely transform. He say, "If it's any consolation, you are the first person to witness my being in this form." Referee in shock say, if high school students can display the magical beast embodiment, they can also enter Huadu University without taking an entrance exam. It's the embodiment of a magical beast. I didn't expect that in this small place of Anqing. In addition to Lu Qingzhu, a martial arts genius, there is also a bloodline genius. After seeing Yi in this form, even Xingguang was in shock and say, magical beast embodiment? To think that your bloodline awakening is at such an overwhelming level. Announce. Each examiner will be equipped with monitoring headphones to monitor candidates, and a range of factors inside and outside the examination room. But there was one old man who couldn't believe what is happening. Nuclear radiation value was 999. After seeing that number, that old man say, "What's going on? The nuclear radiation is off the charts." Referee say, after seeing his embodiment of a magical beast, the examiners seem to have discovered a problem. They have wrapped the arena with martial energy to prevent nuclear leakage. After seeing all of the spectators start gossiping. So this is his bloodline awakening? It's so cool. Does anyone know what's the bloodline of the magical beast he awakened? I am from number 1 middle school, and I heard that he awakened an unknown bloodline. How could such a powerful monster be unknown? He heard all of them speaking and think. It seems that there is no creature like Demora on Blue Star. No wonder they didn't know about it. Meanwhile Xingguang look at his blood and say, "My nose started bleeding again. It seems my martial arts shield can no longer block his energy. It seems that I can't drag on the fight with you for too long." After that Xingguang used bloodline awakening of Golden Star Ape Demon. Referee commented, "It's another third-order king bloodline. This year's college entrance examination is truly full of top candidates." Suddenly Xingguang used form Wolf Fist Snake Strike to attack but Yi was ready for attack, and he used Mountain Arresting Fist to block the attack. After collision Xingguang hand was injured, seeing that he say, "My hand, if I hadn't released the force in time, my entire arm would have been shattered. I was making such a fuss before, but now I'm really being slapped in the face." He continues walking toward him saying, "You are outstanding Xingguang, but unfortunately this cannot change the outcome." As Xingguang and he stands against each other, referee commented, "In the second match of the top 8 to top 4 of this year's college entrance examination, a third-order king bloodline appeared, and on the other side, there is actually an unknown powerful bloodline of a magical beast, which is so rare to see." Xingguang thinks, after his bloodline awakened, his strength is simply unfathomable. I am no longer able to suppress his martial energy. Now I can only retreat in order to advance. But suddenly he charged toward him, saying, "Big man, don't be distracted, and unleash fury of attacks." But suddenly Xingguang use Snake Strike and grab his hand. Xingguang say, "I'm unable to budge you as expected, but my aim is to reposition to your back." After that he jumps into the air and uses his energy. Attack was powerful, but just as he came on the ground after using his technique, he noticed something. He had no injuries and he was standing like nothing has happened. After that he say, "It's my turn now," and charges toward Xingguang. But something unpredictable happens. Xingguang drops to his knees. After that, Xingguang bow down while kneeling and say, "Big brother I surrender." He was puzzled by this. He reply, "Bro, I'm all ready for my turn, but you are surrendering now? I was so riled up, but now I'm so uncomfortable." But after that he relaxes his hands, say, "Forget it." After that he releases energy from his mouth saying, "Holding back energy makes me so uncomfortable." He put his hand on his face and say, "Then again, according to the rules, once one party surrenders, the other party has no right to attack." Referee announces, the competition is over. Coming from in city's number 1 middle school. He wins. Everyone starts shouting, "Brother is awesome, brother is awesome. Brother is awesome." People start making fun of Xingguang saying, "Xingguang before the match, I will win Xingguang after the match. I didn't let Lord use up all his strength. I am so sorry." There's some people online saying, "Join his fan group for via watch at number XXXXX. The first 3 groups are all full." Follow me for Brother E's full video of the college entrance examination. The top scorer in this year's college entrance examination is none other than our Brother E. Even Chuzhou or Lu Qingzhu can't be a match for our Brother E. Meanwhile, at Qingfeng Private High School Leadership Chair, Principal say, Lu may 11th have lost, but I had placed all my hopes on you, Xinguang. Then he points his finger at Xinguang and say, but you dare to admit defeat. Do you know how much money we spent on training you? You ungrateful bastard, if you don't pay off the debt, don't even think about going to college. But then Xinguang put his hand on Principal's shoulder. Principal in fear say, what are you trying to do? Xinguang reply, I couldn't take that punch. So I admitted defeat in order not to hurt my body. If I didn't admit defeat, were you going to take that punch for me? As for the kindness your school has shown me, I will slowly repay it in the future. But please know that you cannot threaten a warrior who is stronger than you. Principal in shock say, okay, you have a point. Announcement happens after fierce competition. The top 4 of this year's college entrance examination have been decided. Iha, Lu Qingzhu, Chuzhou, and some nobody. After that, camera swift at and city's number 1 middle school leadership chair, where principal say old Lu has worked in the school for so many years. It's time to promote him. Hearing that old Lu was happy is awesome. After that announcement happens, the draw ceremony for the semifinals begins now. After draw ceremony, he say, it's first again. Suddenly Lu Qingzhu come near him and say, I drew first as well. Announcement continues. The first game of the college entrance examination semifinals. It's an internal battle for and cities, number 1 middle school Iha versus Lu Qingzhu. Online debates are going on. Damn. I've been wanting to see them fight for a long time. The strongest battle in the history of and city's college entrance examination. Come on. Goddess Lu, the most anticipated showdown since the exam is starting. Brother E must win one say. I feel that Goddess Lu has a better chance of winning. The information revealed so far is that she has mastered 2 mysterious royal martial arts. Just by having them, she crushed Kai Shaoling, who had a 3rd level king bloodline, and the awakening of her 4th level nether bird bloodline had not yet been revealed. While another say, Xinguang also had a 3rd order king bloodline, and Iha was forced to awaken his bloodline by Xinguang. Although Yi's bloodline seemed to be very high, it is estimated that he also has a 4th level bloodline, but he cannot compare with Goddess Lu, who also has a 4th level bloodline and superb martial arts background. After some time at semifinals venue, people are very excited. Iha and Lu Qingzhu arrived at the arena. Referee say, and city's number 1 middle school. Lu Qingzhu versus and city's number 1 middle school. Iha, and after that referee say, let the fight begin. Iha releases his aura. Lu Qingzhu stands there. But after that she feels the terrifying aura that Iha has released. Lu Qingzhu expresses changes as she say, Iha, I hope you're strong enough. As soon as the match started, Iha suddenly released a large amount of steam that covered the entire arena. All spectators were stunned and began questioning, what's going on? Another shouted, I can't see what's happening. The announcer, clearly excited, exclaimed, how will Lu Qingzhu, the talented girl from the Lu family, deal with Iha, the dark horse in this year's college entrance examination? Let's wait and see. Someone wondered aloud, could it be that Iha has awakened his bloodline again? As the smoke began to fade, Iha looked at the girl and thought, Lu Qingzhu's martial arts skills are far superior to mine. With her magical martial arts skills, no matter how strong my power is, I can't hurt her. His face twitched as he continued, this kind of martial arts genius has a very high combat IQ. The longer the battle lasts, the more disadvantageous it will be for me. I need to go all out right from the start. And with that, Iha started to gather energy and used a mountain fist. Lu Qingzhu saw Iha and thought, are you taking the initiative to attack? Then I will use my martial arts to defend and counterattack, and activated her own martial art. Iha moved forward and delivered a quick attack on the girl, but Lu Qingzhu blocked it and moved back thinking, what the hell? He actually cheated me. He yelled out that he was using his fists but ended up using his steel whip. Immediately after, he used his aura and jumped in the air to deliver a quick punch. People in the crowd started commenting, damn Iha, he's cheating, no moral ethics. Another cried, poor Goddess Lu. Someone else passionately yelled, warriors fight and the war never tires. And another exclaimed, Oh no, Goddess Liu's rhythm was disrupted by this trick. Iha continued attacking relentlessly, and the commentary from the spectators didn't stop. Yi's pursuit is too fierce. Lu Qingzhu has no chance of escaping at all, but suddenly Lu Qingzhu used her martial energy to shake off Iha and escape from his grasp. Iha moved forward shouting, "You aren't getting away so easily," and launched an attack at the girl. She looked at the attack thinking, claws filled with martial energy, then dodged and counterattacked. But Iha was already close to her. He smiled like a devil and said, "Don't run away." Classmate Lu immediately launching a rain of attacks at her. Lu Qingzhu tried her best to block his relentless assault while thinking, isn't he tired from these high-intensity attacks? What great physical strength. She continued, I mastered 2 mysterious royal martial arts, one of which is the defensive Lu family secret art, floating shadow. She added, the other is the Hunyuan jade finger, which is more offensive. If I could use either of these techniques, I would be able to escape from this onslaught by Iha, but Iha is not giving me any chance to do so at all. I won't be able to hold on for much longer before I fall off the stage and lose. She looked up, thinking, don't have a choice, and activated her powers. Iha sensed something. Lu Qingzhu glared and thought, there's only my final trump card left. She then used the bloodline awakening of the nether bird, transforming and flying into the air with 2 majestic wings, looking even more beautiful than before. The announcer shouted, it's the blood awakening. Lu Qingzhu displayed her magical beast bloodline, the nether bird, for the first time. She looked at Iha and said confidently, classmate Iha, you have to be careful. I can't control my strength in this form. Iha smiled and became excited, saying, I see, it's good that you've said that, because up till now I have only exerted 50 of my strength. I guess I can give it my all from now on. Before he could finish, Lu Qingzhu suddenly flew behind him and tried to attack using the mysterious royal martial art Hunyuan jade finger. But in a counter, Iha used atomic blast fist to block the attack. As both of their attacks collided, a massive wave of energy erupted from the impact, and shock waves reached the spectators, who shouted in amazement, so strong. Another said, what a strong impact. I can't open my eyes. As the arena became more visible, Lu Qingzhu looked up and noticed something. Iha was also beginning a transformation, and the look on his face was terrifying. As Lu Qingzhu and Iha locked eyes, tension thick in the air, the announcer roared, the first semi-final of the college entrance examination is absolute cinema. Lu Qingzhu looked at Iha and said, this energy fluctuation, not good. As the crowd stared in awe, the announcer cried out, what's going on? This magical beast's true form seems to be gathering power. The protruding spine on his back seems to be storing huge energy, and it's being transmitted to Yis' mouth bit by bit, and then, without warning, Iha suddenly launched an atomic beam straight from his mouth. The beam, massive and roaring with destructive power, headed directly toward Lu Qingzhu. She tried to block it, covering herself with her wings and using her latent awakening. When the beam struck her, she fought desperately to endure it, but the energy was too overwhelming. She activated feather deflection, barely managing to redirect the blast. The announcer shouted in panic, oh, no. Yis' breath was deflected by the feathers on Lu Qingzhu's body. As the beam veered toward the audience, chaos erupted. People screamed and scattered, unable to avoid it. But just as disaster seemed imminent, a glowing magic barrier appeared, blocking the beam, and city's mayor Huang Qin descended from the sky, majestic and composed, and declared, watch carefully, the strongest champion in the history of our city will be born today. The announcer, trembling with excitement, added, fortunately, Mayor Huang protected the audience, and the crowd erupted into cheers on the arena stage. However, Lu Qingzhu was heavily injured, coughing and barely standing after the atomic beam's impact. She looked at Iha and said, he actually defeated my nether bird's defense with just 1 strike. Doubt entered her eyes as she asked herself, can I really beat him? Memories flooded her mind, her clan's words echoing, Lu Qingzhu, you are the hope for the Lu family's revival. You cannot lose. The ancestors of the Lu family are watching you from generation to generation. Don't let us down. She imagined her mother's voice, Qingzhu, your mother has devoted all her efforts to train you so that one day you can revive our Lu family. You can't be willful. And then saw her mother stepping closer. Not only do you have to win this exam, you have to keep winning in the future. And she replied, But Mom, I can't breathe, snapping back to reality. She whispered, I'm so tired. She looked at Iha and thought, and classmate Iha is really powerful. A confused smile appeared on her face as she mused, facing such a strong opponent. It's only natural that I can't win, right? Then she flew into the air preparing to attack, thinking, I think you should be able to seize this flaw I'm showing. Classmate Iha, defeat me quickly. But Iha stood motionless and her attack landed directly on him, stunned. She asked, Iha, why didn't you dodge? Iha glared at her and replied, Classmate Qingzhu, where has your fighting spirit gone? She was taken aback. Shocked by his words, he continued, Have you even looked me in the face? Then he began channeling energy into his fist, shouting, I'm gonna fucking win this title fairly and squarely. She stood frozen as his punch neared, but at the last second blocked it by covering her face with her hands. Iha looked at her, mocking, So you better start facing me seriously. Without a pause, he began beating her down with brutal intensity. Not giving her a moment to recover, hitting her again and again, he snarled, Wanna be serious yet? Lu Qingzhu tried to block his strikes, shouting, You are a bad person. No one has ever dared to hit me like this since I was a kid. Her face turned pale as she struggled to defend, gasping, I clearly wanted to hand over the victory to you. Why do you keep pursuing a fight? Suddenly she released a burst of energy, furious, yelling, Don't hit a girl in the face, asshole. Iha looked at her with satisfaction, smirking, That's more like it if you don't want to be hit in the face. Then get serious, and raged. Lu Qingzhu activated her taboo martial art and ignited her blood, undergoing another transformation into her magical beast true form. Her aura surged and she looked straight at Iha, declaring, Classmate Iha, I shall defeat you with my strongest, as you wish. Iha in shock looks at the girl who was flying in the air, and as he looks at her, he smiles maliciously and says, Have you finally revealed the true form of your magical beast? Now things are actually getting interesting, the energy of the moment surging around them like a rising tide after that. He also uses his power, declaring arrogantly, Since that's the case, I can't be negligent, his voice echoing with growing intensity as the tension builds. Then, with a roar of determination, he activates his power named Hard Qigong, his body glowing with an intense aura. The commentator immediately chimes in with excitement, shouting this is Yi's physical skill that combines the Demura template with Hard Qigong and is called Nuclear Light Combat Body, sending waves of awe through the crowd as the arena begins to tremble. Without hesitation, he launches himself toward the girl with explosive force, yelling, Let's have a good fight, as the atmosphere becomes saturated with the promise of a brutal clash. The girl, eyes locked on him, says that Iha was coming towards her, and in response, she uses her tearing hurricane ability, summoning a vortex of destructive wind energy so powerful that it engulfs the entire arena stage in violent gales, leaving no corner untouched by their battle. But Iha doesn't stop there. His momentum unstoppable, he charges through the storm and unleashes his explosive fist to destroy the girl's ability, tearing through the hurricane with raw physical might. Seeing this, the girl gathers energy in her mouth and lets out a powerful scream, her voice transformed into a sonic weapon, the shockwave clashing against Yi's fist. And from the impact, Iha is sent back a little, his feet grinding against the ground. After steadying himself, he looks at the girl and says with a grin, Do you think you're the only one who can scream? And without waiting, he gathers energy from his back, preparing a powerful attack, while the girl, burning with determination, places her hand on her forehead and declares, It's the same old trick again, I want back down this time. Then continues with unwavering resolve, I will, giving up defense to release the Lu family's strongest move. Her words thunder across the battlefield like a war drum. A massive amount of energy flows out of her, illuminating the stage with an ominous light, and she shouts, I will face you head on, standing her ground as Iha suddenly unleashes his nuclear beam ability directly toward her, a blast of unimaginable power cutting through the air. But the girl is fully prepared, activating her bloodline ability and unleashing the terrifying netherworld blood thorns, sending multiple attacks at him with deadly precision. Just as their attacks are about to collide in midair, the tension is electric, and the announcer, breathless with excitement, shouts, Yi's atomic breath and Lu Qingzhu's netherworld blood thorn form two powerful impacts. This isn't good. This kind of collision of power is not something that these two warriors can control, as panic ripples through the crowd at that very moment. The city lord intervenes, using gene technique to create the divine ley line wall, a massive glowing barrier erected just in time to intercept the devastating clash. Both Iha and the girl's attacks slam into the divine ley line wall with earth-shaking force, the collision triggering a shockwave that rattles the entire arena. Spectators shield their eyes as dust and debris cloud the view, voices rising with astonishment. Such a strong impact was that wall just now put up by the mayor? Their words barely audible over the chaos. Smoke continues to billow as others speculate. Did the mayor contain the effects of the collision? If the mayor didn't take action, I'm afraid we would all be collateral, the gravity of the situation dawning on everyone. The city lord, face grim and voice steady, thinks to himself, my 3 ley line walls were prepared too hastily, and they are not as solid as usual. In the end, Iha and Lu Qingzu's attacks collided with each other. Who could have thought that there would be 2 incredibly strong candidates in this year's college entrance examination? A rare glimmer of concern flashing across his eyes. As the dust begins to clear from the stage, a single hand, blood-covered and trembling, becomes visible. This hand belongs to none other than the girl, and though injured, she speaks through ragged breaths. The power of the magical beast's true body has been exhausted, yet she refuses to yield, her eyes burning with fierce willpower as she continues, I can't give up. I can still fight, standing amidst the chaos despite her bogus protests. Suddenly, Iha steps forward, emerging from the smoke like an unstoppable force, and the girl looks up to see him, her mind racing. My moves clearly hit him, but he was unharmed, confusion and disbelief colliding in her thoughts. Iha gazes down at her, his tone calm yet heavy with meaning, saying, if you don't get rid of the nuclear radiation in your body, you will be crippled in the future, a warning layered with concern. The girl tries to hold back her emotions, but her body trembles, her resolve shaking as she looks up with tearing eyes and cries out, I didn't even want to fight with you to this extent. Why do you insist on forcing me to fight? Her voice echoing with raw vulnerability. Suddenly, Iha kneels down and comes close to her, his words piercing through the haze of emotion. Do you really not want to fight me? Or are you just being rebellious and not wanting to admit your competitive spirit? When you were fighting hard just now, I could feel your desire for victory. And hearing that, the girl is left speechless, her mind swirling with emotion. She begins to think, he was right, I was thinking about defeating him just now. That's why I gave up defense and used all my strength. But what's wrong with me? I obviously hate fighting and wanted to lose to him as soon as possible. But when I was fighting just now, I did feel it. I felt the exhilaration of fighting. Not for anyone, but just for myself, her inner turmoil reaching a breaking point. Suddenly, Iha puts his hand on the girl's shoulder, completely surprising her, and begins to absorb the radiation energy from her hand, saying, you have too many distracting thoughts when you are fighting, that's why you lost, his voice carrying an unexpected gentleness. The girl looks at her hand in amazement and says, the radiation and injuries on my arm have healed. The pain slowly fading away. Iha continues, but you are still the strongest opponent I have ever met, his words resonating deeply. After that, he turns his head slightly, his gaze lingering on her as he says, next time there's a chance, I really want to have the purest battle with you, Lu Qingzu. And the girl is completely shocked by what he had just said, her heart pounding in the silence that follows. Just as the dust finally clears from the arena stage, the announcer's voice booms throughout the stadium. The one who appeared as Iha is still standing on the field. The first match of the semifinals is over. Iha from NCTS number 1 middle school wins and the crowd erupts, the echoes of battle still hanging in the air as history is written in the arena that day. After that, the announcement continued, saying Iha has defeated Lu Qingzu, and Shoujo has also won as expected. Now the biggest climax of NCTS college examination for the battle of top scorer is about to begin. One side is the dark horse from NCTS number 1 middle school, Iha, and his opponent is Shoujo, who is also from NCTS number 1 middle school. This match was super popular, and because of this, the viewer number of this live stream skyrocketed to an astonishing 496 million. As soon as the match started, Shoujo drew out his sword and channeled it with energy, the blade glowing with intense light. Iha looked at him and smiled viciously, saying, "Come at me with all you got," his expression radiating unstoppable confidence. Hearing that, the boy used his sword ability and started moving towards Iha using 7-star steps, a movement technique so fast that it created multiple afterimages as Chojo was coming at him. Iha stood completely still, patiently waiting for the perfect moment. Then, just as the attack approached, he channeled energy into his hand and used explosive fist, slamming it into the ground, and the resulting shockwave was so massive that all of Kaya's attacks and clones were obliterated in an instant. Chojo saw that and said he was too lazy to look for my real body, so he used simple and crude moves to attack all the clones, then continued watching Iha, thinking even with his defensive ability he can't be fought head-to-head. Is there any warrior of the same age as him who can fight him in close combat? He is such a monster, his eyes filled with both awe and frustration. After that, Chojo glared at Iha, realizing he couldn't take him on up close, so he decided to exhaust him from a distance. With that, he activated his bloodline awakening, revealing his ice elemental dragon bloodline, and without giving a second to react, he used one of his bloodline abilities, Ice Pulse, and launched a devastating attack at Iha. In an instant, Iha was completely covered in ice crystal, and not only him but the entire platform was frozen. The power of Ice Pulse so overwhelming that it formed a towering iceberg on the battlefield and covered the whole area in a chilling frost. Chojo looked exhausted, because unleashing such a powerful icy force so suddenly took a heavy toll on his body. His breath ragged and body trembling, but then, the ice surrounding his body began to melt rapidly, steam rising into the air, and suddenly a brilliant beam of light shot out from within the ice. Seeing that, Chojo was shocked. He couldn't believe that Iha had broken out of the ice so easily. Suddenly, the beam of energy headed directly toward him. He tried to block it, but the impact was so powerful that it sent a massive shockwave through the arena. Then Iha stepped forward, unfazed, and said, "Your ice dragon power will never work on me," continuing to advance with unwavering presence, saying, "It seems my counterattack took quite a bit toll on you." The boy replied with a strained voice, "The gap in strength is just too big," then glared at Iha, saying that he would now unleash his final move, the current limit of his martial arts, a technique he had originally intended to save for Lu Qingzhu. With resolve burning in his eyes, he lifted his head, and a massive amount of energy surged toward his hand, condensing into one large sword. The city lord, observing everything, was stunned and thought, "This is sword intent. But the boy is so young. To think that he already possesses such strength is quite shocking." His mind racing at the implications after that, the boy launched his attack at Iha, and suddenly, blood dripped on the ground. It turned out Iha was slightly injured in his hand. Ha looked at it and said, "Too bad. When he gets a better sword in the future he might have a chance." But this attack was just too weak, his voice calm and dismissive. The boy was so shocked that he couldn't even speak properly. He looked at the ground, devastated, thinking, "My sword has been broken," the reality sinking in. After that, he looked up at Iha and asked quietly, "How much chance will I have?" And Iha smiled and said, "Well, maybe a little greater than becoming a successful simp," the remark cutting sharp and clean. Suddenly, the boy raised his hand and said he surrendered, and right after that, the announcement echoed across the arena. Winner of the Insighty College examination final is Iha. And with that, the crowd erupted into cheers, people shouting, "Brother E, I was right about you, you are awesome," while another said, "Although Chojo is also very strong, he is no match for Iha." The energy from the crowd reached a fever pitch as people began commenting online, platforms exploding with praise for Iha the Dark Horse, and his posters started appearing on buildings and advertisements all across the city. People left comments saying things like, "I heard that he was at the bottom of the class last year, but this year he defeated the top students and became the top scorer, so inspiring." And others said the level of this year's college entrance examination is so much higher than the previous years, and Iha, who was able to break out of this, is naturally the strongest #1 schooler in the city's history. On the examination grounds, people were chanting Yi's name continuously, their voices echoing in unison. The announcer pointed his hand toward Iha and addressed the audience, saying, "Dear audience who follow the 24th college entrance examination in and city on site and through live broadcast, after 3 days of bloody battles, the top scorer in the college entrance examination in and city is finally born, and he is Iha from #1 middle school." His voice filled with pride and celebration. After that, the announcer pointed the mic at Iha and said, "Student, I heard that your strength is the result of catching up from behind and accumulating strength over time. Now that you have won the top spot, do you have anything to say?" Iha shivered a little and thought to himself, "You are indeed a cultured person. You can even describe my cheating in such a subtle way." Then he smiled awkwardly and said, "First of all, I want to thank my teacher. It was him who did not give up on me and encouraged me when I was at my lowest point, which gave me my fighting spirit," his words sincere. Seeing that, Yi's teacher hugged the TV with teary eyes and said, "I really don't deserve your praise, Iha. I have been so focused on my duty as a teacher. I feel guilty for not noticing your potential." His voice trembling while he was speaking, he noticed his school headmaster raising his hands and giving him hand signals, thinking 2 million. "Iha, promote over number 1 middle school and I will reward you with 2 million in scholarship." Iha quickly understood and began saying, "I would also like to thank my school and my headmaster. Without his wise leadership I would not be here." His delivery smooth, and after that, he raised his hand and said, "And finally, I want to thank myself. Without my personal hard work and wisdom, I would definitely not be as successful as I am today." His words drawing cheers from the crowd. Suddenly, a system notification popped up before him saying, "Congratulations to Worst for winning the title of number 1 schooler, and you will be rewarded with a random template ability." And seeing that he was shocked, he thought to himself, the title of number 1 scholar, it turned out that this template also has an achievement system. The realization hitting him like a thunderbolt as a new chapter began to unfold in his journey. After some time passed in the stadium corridor, many people were running after he, asking questions like whether he found it hard to get first place. They also asked if he planned to attend what a university and how he managed to improve so much in just half a year. Meanwhile, he began to run away, shouting that they should stop chasing him because he needed to pee. Suddenly, a guy approached and asked he who he thought was prettier, looking Zhu or Kai Shaoling. Hearing this, he flinched and then started running faster, saying he didn't have time to waste with those reporters, and asked if they preferred Xinguang or Chuzhou. After a while at the basketball court, Iha said he finally lost the reporters and felt excited. He wondered who would have thought he wasn't limited to just one template but could get more through system rewards. Suddenly, someone congratulated Iha on winning first place, causing him to flinch because more reporters had appeared. However, the man explained he wasn't a reporter but came from Huadu and wanted to talk about genetic locks. Hearing that, Iha thought about genetic locks and questioned how that related to him, since all his abilities came from the monster template and he hadn't unlocked any genetic locks himself. He wondered who this man was and how much he knew about his powers. The man asked if Iha heard about genetic locks from his father, and Iha confirmed that was true, recalling from his original memories that this was indeed the case. The man then took documents from his bag and asked if Iha was curious about how his father, an ordinary taxi driver, knew a word so unrelated to his job. Iha considered if there might be a big secret. The man gave Iha some papers and said that because of his special situation, Huadu could unlock a secret document for him. After opening the documents, Iha read about Prometheus, a research institute that used to be a leader in biological gene research on Blue Star but was wanted and blocked by many countries due to an incident. Most of its top researchers had to hide their identities and live in the city. The document said genetic lock technology was once a key project of Prometheus. Iha thought that maybe people believed his humble father was actually a senior researcher and that he himself was a secret result of Prometheus research. The man reassured him that the country wouldn't make things difficult and that he just wanted to inform him since he had the right to know as a party involved. Iha replied that it was hard to stay calm with all the attention and trouble that fame brought, and said society adapted very quickly. The man said he would take his leave, and after he left, Iha felt happy. He said he had made a lot of money from the college entrance exam, not only earning a ticket to Huadu University but also receiving a 2 million scholarship from the principal plus an extra 800,000 bonus. He said the most important thing was that now he could draw a new template ability eagerly. He opened the system and suddenly a huge amount of energy appeared before him, shocking him. The energy shaped into a giant titan, which was a Drank template. The system showed, template, Drank template, supergiant humanoid. Iha looked at the screen and wondered about the supergiant humanoid template. He thought it might be possible to combine abilities from different templates, and if he combined the supergiant humanoid with the Demora template, he could become the true king of monsters. Elsewhere, someone on the phone asked if Brother Hualong had personal matters and would no longer accept tasks. The man replied that all his upcoming schedules were cancelled. This angry man was the brother of someone killed by Iha. A researcher informed him that although they didn't find the brother's body in the secret realm, they found some remains where the brother's signal last appeared. Tests showed a small amount of nuclear radiation. The man looked at the TV showing Iha fighting, closed his eyes, and said to his dead brother that he had warned him not to get involved in society. But he didn't listen, and that their mother had asked him to take care of his brother before she left. Then the man moved closer to the TV, looked at Yis image and said Iha must be a rare genius in Anan City, and that Huadu University would compete to enroll him. It was a pity they wouldn't get to see his enrollment. After some time, someone announced that delivery had arrived, and Iha opened the documents, saying he was about to go to the secret realm to test a new template and wondered who sent him something. It was a letter from Chuzhou, saying that according to Huadu's Central Research Bureau's investigation, a new secret realm crack would open at Anan City's Redwood Mountain at 3 p.m. that day. The secret realm was estimated to be around Crank. Chuzhou wanted to investigate and asked if Iha wanted to form a team. Yis' expression became strange as he thought about how outdated it was to use letters and wondered if Chuzhou was also a time traveler. Later, at Anan City Redwood Mountain, many people had gathered. Iha looked around and thought there must be at least 1,000 people because new secret realms attracted many. Suddenly, Chuzhou appeared and called Iha over, saying he had become stronger again. Iha smiled awkwardly and thought he hadn't expected Chuzhou to be so perceptive. He had used the money earned from the college entrance exam to buy gene drugs, increasing the supergiant humanoid template's compatibility to 35. He realized low-level monster templates had their advantages and could produce quick results. Then Iha asked Chuzhou which university he planned to apply for. Chuzhou replied Huadu University. Iha said it looked like they would be schoolmates going forward. He also thought that Chuzhou's mood seemed a bit off. Suddenly, the secret realm opened and a three-headed monster emerged from it. The moment the three-headed monsters appeared from the secret realm, every warrior focused their attention on them. One of the men shouted loudly, announcing that the secret realm had opened and urging his comrades to fight the monsters and break through. In response, all the warriors rushed forward to attack the beasts. The monster heads spoke among themselves. One warning that the warriors were too strong and numerous. The second head ordered a quick retreat, but the third head said that escape was impossible. The warriors managed to kill the monsters. Later, at Redwood Mountain's secret realm, Iha and Chuzhou began moving forward. Iha sensed a strong smell of blood nearby. Observing the monsters ahead, he realized they were in the middle of a beast's tide, and that the monsters had been waiting for them for some time. The warriors called out to each other, reminding everyone to follow the law by focusing on killing monsters and resisting the beast tide. Then, the warriors started to kill the monsters one after another. Using his bloodline ability, Chuzhou froze many monsters that stood in his way. Suddenly, a monster jumped from behind to attack Chuzhou, but Ihi noticed it and destroyed the monster with an atomic explosive punch. He warned Chuzhou about the danger behind him, who then expressed his thanks. After defeating all the monsters, he said the beasts inside the secret realm were not strong enough to be worth fighting. Chuzhou was surprised and commented on how many monsters he had killed. He examined the remains and thought that the monster's flesh and blood had melted due to some kind of nuclear radiation attack, which was hard to resist and very quiet, but deadly to living cells. After that, he walked forward, causing nearby monsters to melt away. Some people watched and wondered why the fighting ended so quickly and if there was a powerful warrior among the group. Others confirmed that the person was the top scorer in the college entrance exam in Incite. They discussed how amazing it was for a martial artist to kill so many monsters, mentioning a live broadcast of his fight. They said this young student could defeat 10 people at once. Many gathered around Ihi and decided to drive the monsters toward him. Suddenly, a signal announced that the leader of the beast tide had been defeated and the monsters were retreating. Chuzhou looked at the warriors and noted that only about 800 remained from thousands, many wounded. Ihi collected loot from the monsters and asked Chuzhou if there was a way to carry all of it. Shocked, Chuzhou showed his storage ring which could hold everything. Ihi was amazed at how valuable the ring was and realized that Chuzhou was wealthy. Then someone said Boss Wu-san and his friends had returned. Ihi and Chuzhou looked toward the large man walking nearby. People said that without Boss Wu-san to fight the Lord-level monsters, they would have all died from exhaustion. The giant man greeted Yi and introduced himself as the leader of the Silver Wolf martial arts group in Incite. He said he had heard of Yi's heroic actions and wanted him to join their group. He promised it would not affect Yi's education and would bring many benefits. He offered to sign an level membership contract. Others talked about how great this chance was because without a martial arts group support, it was hard to afford the costs of a martial arts career. They explained that the Silver Wolf group was very large and prestigious, and even university students could not get an level contract easily. Suddenly, a girl approached and asked Wu-san why he was rushing. She told Yi to join their Qingda martial arts group, which was smaller but could offer 15 of its monthly training resources to him. People got excited, saying that such a share was valuable and the high school student had caused competition between the two big groups. But Yi said he was not interested in joining any group yet. Wu-san shook hands with Yi and said it was not easy to recruit him, but they could remain friends and Yi could contact the group anytime. The girl also said their group was waiting for Yi's call. Yi replied that he was okay with making friends even if not joining. After everyone left, Chuzhou came closer and suggested exploring the giant forest freely now that the beast tide was gone. He proposed climbing to the treetops to see the area and make plans. Yi agreed while running. Chuzhou noticed how fast Yi was. After a while, they reached a spot where Chuzhou was shocked to see huge giants wandering. He guessed that the giants were over 1,000 meters tall and was amazed. Yi smiled and said the giants were still young, and that soon they might conquer the secret realm beasts and discover its secrets. Chuzhou admired Yi's confidence and believed that although Yi was afraid of unknown powerful beings, he was sure he could defeat them. Looking at Yi, Chuzhou thought he was a true warrior with strong will and skills. Meanwhile, Yi told the monsters their cores would be his soon. He noticed something strange and activated his power, realizing there was an empty vacuum zone in the southeast part of the realm where no life was detected. Seeing a monster fighting in a lake, he guessed the area must be valuable because of the noise and disturbance. Then he pointed towards Stud Lake in the southeast and suggested to Chuzhou that they go and check it out. After spending some time near the lake, Yi spotted someone and called out. Sister Yuli hearing this, the girl answered playfully, "Isn't this our top scorer, Yi?" She didn't expect him to be so strong. Nearby, a boy and a girl by Yuli asked excitedly, "Wow, Yuli, do you actually know the little top scorer from Incite?" The boy added eagerly, "Exactly, introduce him to us quickly. Top scorer Yi was really impressive fighting the beast tide just now." Then Yi asked Sister Yuli, "How long have you been here?" Yuli replied, "They just arrived, and two teammates good at swimming have gone down to the lake to check the way." Suddenly, someone came out of the lake shouting, "Jackpot, they are going to be rich." Curious, Yuli asked, "Explain more clearly. How did they become rich?" A guy said, "There is a relic under the lake. They will make a fortune." Excited, Yuli said, "Really? That's awesome, they are rich." He asked, "Relics? What are those? Why is everyone so excited?" Chuzhou explained, "In the secret realms, some mysterious buildings are thought to be left by an ancient civilization. Experts call them relics." Chuzhou continued, "It said that the foundation of modern human martial arts and many genetic technologies come from these relics." Hearing this, a guy became scared and shouted, "There's someone else." The guy tried to draw his sword, saying, "Who are those two? How dare they eavesdrop on us?" But Yuli stopped him. "Stop it, Yuyang. Yi and Chuzhou are the first and second top scorers in the Incite College entrance exams." Yuli added, "Their strength is far beyond most ordinary warriors. So let's let them join us this time." He answered, "Yes, brother, don't get excited. The two of them can help explore the ruins." After that, the guy came close to Yi and asked, "Then how do we divide the spoils?" He replied, "The two of them are just helpers. So divide the loot based on effort. The more they contribute, the more they get." The guy turned and said, "Okay, I'll let them join for now, but don't get any ideas." In his mind, he thought, the top scorer and second place in the exams will become great figures. Better not make enemies of them. Then everyone jumped into the water and started swimming. After a while, they reached a cave inside the lake. The guy said, after going through this cave they will find the ruins inside. He looked around and said, strange, where is Li Wei? Didn't I ask him to stay here? Another member replied, maybe he found some treasure and left first. The first guy called out, hello? Hello, Li Wei? Please answer. He asked after discovering this underground cave. Have they checked for signs of monster activity? Li Wei and I used all the monster bait bombs, but not a single monster showed up. A girl got scared and said, this place seems very dangerous. Li Wei is missing, should they continue exploring? Hearing that, the guy shouted, continue, they must continue. If anyone is afraid to take the wealth and glory in front of them, they will be weak warriors all their lives. He added, those afraid of death should leave now. Those who want to get rich should stay. Everyone agreed, and the guy said, since no one is quitting, let's go. Then they all started walking in the cave, following footsteps on the ground. Suddenly, he noticed something strange and whispered to Chuzhou. Something isn't right, Chuzhou whispered back, yes, the timing doesn't match. Huang Yuli said their team just arrived at the lake not long ago. At most 10 minutes looking at the guy from behind. Chuzhou continued quietly. Yu Yang and Li Wei managed to find this cave at the bottom of the huge lake, and through the underground cave, they found a hidden route to the ruins. He added, it's like they have a cheat, like turning on a map view in a game. Then he said, it's obviously a trick. Should they warn your acquaintance and leave? He smiled and said, don't panic, he has a trump card. They reached a place where He looked and said, this is a monster core. It has lost its glow and seems drained a long time ago. He continued, no wonder he didn't see many aquatic magic beasts while diving. They must have been devoured long ago. Suddenly Yuli asked Yang, where is the relic you mentioned? Before he could answer, a second girl pointed fearfully upward. It was the dead body of their member, Li Wei. Seeing this, both girls trembled in fear. Then Yu Yang dropped to his knees, holding his head in pain. Suddenly his head grew large and exploded, and a vine monster emerged from it. The group was shocked. He gathered energy and launched an attack on the vine monster. Seeing the monster not die, he said, who would have thought a monster could be this smart? Then he looked at the monster and said, after hunting the two warriors, it parasitized the brain of one and used him as bait to catch more prey. He added, it seems they have been lured into its hunting ground. Suddenly, the monster blocked the path they came from, so no one could escape. Chuzhou said, he has read about this kind of monster that controls vines and books. Chuzhou continued, it's a second-level king-class monster called the ghost demon vine. Hearing this, a girl became more scared and said, second-level king-class? This king-class species is beyond ordinary levels. First-level warriors like them cannot fight it. He looked at the monster and said, he will kill it. Suddenly, a blast opened the path blocked by the vines and a man entered from the entrance. Someone looked at the man and said, Chi and blood smoke, that's an 8th-level warrior. He turned to look at the man and asked if anyone was still searching for him. The man glared back and said he had heard rumors about someone using nuclear radiation in the secret realm of Redwood Mountain to fight the beast tide, so he knew they were there. Then he explained he had tracked the radiation traces to find their location. The man continued, saying he had followed them all the way to the underground cave while hiding his own tracks to avoid being found. He did not expect them to discover him and blocked the path with a huge rock to slow him down. The man claimed he stopped his heartbeat, breathing, and other bodily functions entering suspended animation, but they still detected him. He admitted they were someone who could push his brothers in the Hua family into a tight spot. He looked puzzled and asked who he was because he suddenly appeared, speaking nonsense, and questioned if they knew each other. Suddenly, the man tried to attack He, shouting for him to stop pretending and go to hell. But a vine attacked the man from behind. The man shouted that this was the lair of the ghost demon vine and that he was tricked into the monster's home to be attacked by it. The man angrily accused He of planning this trap. The man, still fighting, explained that the ghost demon vine absorbed martial energy and released neurotoxins. He said if he kept fighting like this, He would definitely fall there and cursed He for tricking him. He replied confused that this was the first time they met and that the man seemed to have many inner dramas. The man got furious and released a large amount of energy, saying he was annoyed because his real target was He, not the vine monsters. The cave began to collapse because of the fighting, and a girl became shocked. Suddenly He shouted for everyone to get out of the way. Then He gathered energy and fired a nuclear beam. The cave collapsed and water started rushing inside. He told Sister Yuli and the others to leave first. The man tried to attack He from behind again, but before reaching him, Chuzhou stopped him, warning not to hurt a single hair on He while he was present. The man laughed and said he was an 8th level warrior and that a small attack like this would not harm him. Suddenly He jumped into the air, calling the man a chatterbox, and asked where his uncle was looking. Then he used an atomic explosive fist and attacked the man on landing. Afterward, he told Chuzhou to leave because the man was a high-level warrior and would be too difficult for him to handle in his current state. Then he looked at the man and said he would deal with him. Outside the lake, the group members said the ghost demon vine had gone wild, causing chaos at the bottom of the lake. Suddenly, Chuzhou appeared and asked Yuli where He was. Chuzhou glanced back toward the lake. After some time, a massive explosion happened in the lake and a giant titan rose, throwing the man's body into the air. Chuzhou wondered what had just happened, and then the titan vanished into the fog. Sometime later he emerged from the lake and asked Chuzhou to lend him some clothes. Then Chuzhou asked about the explosion earlier. He replied that it was caused by a mysterious warrior who had brought a plasma bomb and died along with the ghost demon vine. Chuzhou said plasma bombs were military contraband and wondered who could have access to them. He added that the explosion seemed more powerful than a plasma bomb and mentioned seeing a giant in the smoke. He denied there was a giant and said it was a mistake caused by the explosion. Inside, he thought luckily they were fooled. It would be bad if anyone knew about his monster template ability. He admitted he was a bit heavy-handed and that the warrior was crushed to ashes by him. He lost the corpse but luckily kept the magic core of the ghost demon vine. Then Yuli and her group started leaving. Yuli said to He that they were leaving now and apologized for making him follow them for nothing and for troubling him to save them. She promised to compensate him once he left the secret realm. He replied not to be so polite and that he would consider this a repayment for the favor she did for him. He said if she gave him any compensation then he would always owe her a favor. Then Chuzhou and he looked at each other and said what comes next is happy monster killing time. 3 days later at the Redwood Mountain secret realm entrance. As they exited and landed on the ground they were surprised by what they saw. He said in just a few days this place had developed into a small town with transport planes. He commented that Xia country's infrastructure capabilities were really frightening. Then he went to sell his loot. As he placed his sack on the table a girl in the court told him to be more careful because damaging those things would bring no benefit. He replied that he had too many items in his hands and if he didn't take them out quickly it would be hard for the girl to finish appraising before noon. The girl assured him that they were all professionals. He sighed and took out storage rings saying okay then. Afterward he started taking out bag after bag. After some time when he took out the final bag he said that was the last one. The girl was shocked and awkwardly asked if he had finished moving everything out. He smiled slightly and said it was done but that the girl needed to hurry and calculate. He added that he still had a lot of spiritual medicine to take out. Outside the shop where rare herbs are evaluated. Onlookers are amazed by the unique plants he has gathered. Inside the store a crowd stares wide-eyed at the rare items and rare cores he has brought stunned by their worth. He moves forward confidently proud as others whisper about the collection of precious magic stones and rare items. He thinks it's a smart idea to sell the low-level cores now and keep the rarer pieces like the blue stone from a 5th-level beast for later. Aiming for better rewards after selling he sees a number pop up on his account, a total of 2,750,700 credits. He walks outside planning to sell his spirit herbs that were already checked when a fancy car pulls up stopping in front of him. An older man steps out. It's the boss of Ping's pharmacy who greets he saying he heard about the herbs he got. The man offers a price higher than the normal rate, hoping he will agree to sell his herbs directly to him. He realizes that someone at the shop must have told people about his herbs. But he doesn't mind since it means buyers are coming straight to him. As the luxury car drives off, he casually reminds them to contact him directly if they want more spirit herbs. He checks his phone and sees his account now has 7,450,064 yuan. But he thinks it's smarter to invest in himself and his abilities instead of keeping the cash. He's frustrated because the normal boosters and low-grade herbs haven't done anything for his growth. Even though he has a lot of money, he still can't afford the top-level items that truly matter. Then an idea lights up in his mind. He can still grow stronger through martial arts. He makes up his mind to learn strong martial arts skills, thinking it might be the key to unlocking his next level. Determined, he speeds down the street on his bike, a grin on his face, saying he's about to get his golden chance. The scene shifts to the doorway of the principal's office at Anchang High School, where a warm drink is ready, making the meeting feel formal and welcoming. Inside, the principal smiles kindly as he welcomes he back, surprised that he's visiting. He respectfully offers a small gift from Ping's pharmacy, saying it's just a thank you and not a bribe. He asks if the principal can help him find a good martial arts teacher, explaining that he hasn't entered college yet, so he can't rely on his family for help. The principal says he is a great student and a role model, surprised that he wants to train so soon, suggesting he waits until college. But he speaks from the heart, saying he wants to grow stronger now and asks for a chance. The principal is moved by his drive and agrees to help, saying his talent is too good to waste. They laugh together for a moment, sharing a light mood. The next afternoon, the school comes into view, marking the passage of time. He wipes sweat from his face after practice when a call comes in saying the arrangements are done and he's ready. He thanks the principal and asks which martial arts family he's going to. He's stunned when he hears it's the Liu family, known for their secret martial arts, barely able to believe they teach him. Outside the edge of Inkhang, a motorbike zooms down the road at top speed. A girl on the back cheers, praising the rider's speed and calling him amazing. The rider grins wide, saying this isn't even his best, that he's got something even crazier to show. But then he looks nervous, warning them about the risk of racing on the highway and reminding them of safety rules. The girl yells at him, calling him insane and saying the loud engine is hurting her ears. She laughs at him for showing off when he is on a simple bike. The biker grips the handles tight, ready to prove himself, and shouts that no one with lower status deserves to race him. His passenger calls him a beast, impressed by his skills. He watches calmly, not amused by their risky show. Suddenly, the two bikers are left in shock as a huge burst of blue energy shoots past them. He rides on his bike, now glowing with a bright blue light, and says quietly, "Let's go." The energy trail blazes down the highway with incredible power, shaking everything nearby. The biker duo stares in disbelief, realizing his bike is moving as fast as a jet. He soon reaches the grand gate of the Liu family home, amazed by the massive size and beauty. He looks up at the huge building, feeling the strong energy surrounding the area, a sign that powerful people live there. A figure appears first, showing her delicate feet, hinting at her importance. Lu Qingzhu greets he with a warm smile, saying, "You're here." She playfully asks if he's unhappy to see her. He looks a bit shy but says no respectfully. Lu Qingzhu teases him again and explains her mother sent her to meet him. She turns and leads the way into the grand house, and he follows politely. Together they walk through the huge gate of the Liu family estate. And Lu Qingzhu glances up and says, "Mom, he has arrived." A pair of fancy shoes taps down a staircase, hinting someone important is on the way. A gorgeous lady in a long purple dress glides downward. She says she is the leader of the Liu family and gives a warm welcome to he. After the college exam finishes at the Liu family mansion, the scene cuts to a quiet view of the estate. Lu Qingzhu stands nervously in front of her graceful mother, who drinks tea slowly. Lu Qingzhu tries to speak, "Mom, but her mother cuts in softly, telling her not to be scared. She looks at a video of he fighting and praises his smart thinking. She tells Lu Qingzhu there's no need for her to worry. He can handle himself. Lu Qingzhu listens quietly as her mother says plainly that her younger brother doesn't have the talent to lead the Lu family. She says that from now on it's all up to Lu Qingzhu. She touches her daughter's face and tells her she's smart and beautiful and the right one to carry this big duty. She talks about how the family is struggling and they must strengthen their power through smart alliances. She looks Lu Qingzhu straight in the eye and asks, "What do you think if I let you marry Yi?" Lu Qingzhu turns red, shocked by the question. Her mother says that Yi has great potential, strong will, and a good family which makes him a good match. Lu Qingzhu stumbles with her words, unable to answer. Her mother calmly says there's no need for a quick reply. Just spend time with Yi and see how things go. At the estate gates he kneels down offering a gift and greets Lu Qingzhu's mother with deep respect. She accepts the gift with a warm smile. She says she heard from the school head that Yi wants to learn high-level martial arts. Yi thinks to himself how fast she agreed. She confirms and says that Lu Qingzhu will help guide him. She tells them Lu Qingzhu will take Yi to the Lu family's martial arts vault. But the rules allow him to stay for only one day. She also says the vault holds 3 powerful high-ranked martial techniques. And it's up to Yi's own skill to master any of them. Yi bows low, thanking the Lu family for the chance. Lu Qingzhu's mother notices he thanks the entire family, not just her. She thinks to herself that he's clever and knows how to play the power game. She finds him more likable than before. Lu Qingzhu notices the way her mother looks at Yi and wonders what's going on. She leads Yi through a long underground path to the martial arts vault. Yi, with a teasing voice, asks Lu Qingzhu why she keeps staring at him. She quickly denies it, turning red. Yi leans closer with a cheeky grin and repeats the question. "Really?" Blushing, Lu Qingzhu yells, "Stop! Why are you so close?" and kicks him away. Yi bursts out laughing as their voices bounce off the stone walls. They reach the giant vault door and are told the door is made from a special metal that can take massive hits without breaking. Yi asks if he can hit it. Lu Qingzhu looks at him confused, wondering what he's up to. Yi unleashes a glowing blue punch. The energy blasts out and Lu Qingzhu is suddenly reminded of frightening memories tied to that blue energy punch. Yi punches the giant wall again with a strong blue glow, but the door doesn't crack or even shake. Yi grabs his sore hand, looking puzzled, as Lu Qingzhu laughs and leads him to where the martial techniques are kept. In a big scroll room, Yi is told he can choose any technique and open it with his ID card. Yi and Lu Qingzhu walk toward a locked room that needs a card to open. Lu Qingzhu warns him that mastering a high-level technique in one day is nearly impossible and suggests he start with an easier one. Yi teases again, asking if she's worried about him. Lu Qingzhu turns red, flustered. She types in a code to open a special vault holding rare black-grade martial techniques. Inside they find several large golden boxes that also need a password. The true way to learn the Xinhuang martial art isn't to read, but to sense the martial rhythm left behind by the one who created it. The devil in the flesh, is he the one meant to learn this martial art? Yi stands there stunned, realizing that the Xinhuang martial technique isn't a book, but a creepy black statue. He stares in shock, wondering if the strange thing is really the martial technique itself. Our boy Yi sat before a massive damaged statue, musing if this experience, which felt like sensing the martial rhyme, meant he had entered its spiritual world. He noted that the martial art he sought wasn't in a book but seemed linked to the statue itself. He remembered the girl explained that martial rhyme could be carried not just by statues but also paintings or utensils. She clarified that this was a mysterious art of martial masters and only they could condense martial rhyme and embed it into objects for future generations to inherit. She then told him that the rest was up to him. He questioned this, pointing out that she hadn't told him how to learn from the object. Her reply was simple: sense the martial rhyme. If he was fated, he would sense it. Looking bewildered, the young man decided that if it was a matter of fate, he might as well take a nap and promptly lay down with a soft thud. From an observation room, the girl watched, commenting that his behavior was entirely typical of him. Within the spiritual realm he had entered, the young man realized he was in a unique space. He noticed he no longer possessed martial chi and his powerful abilities were inactive, leaving him feeling weak like an ordinary person. A message from his system appeared, indicating that his consciousness had entered a special space, and that the system would protect his spiritual body to prevent sudden death. He was relieved to find that his core monster template ability was still active even if suppressed. Suddenly an ancient figure appeared, strikingly similar to the statue. He laughed, proclaiming that only a true man could inherit his martial arts and that he would let them rot otherwise. He challenged the young man, urging him to prove he was a true man of iron. The protagonist stared in shock, confirming that this figure was indeed the spitting image of the statue. The ancient figure laid out the trial. When a thunderstorm arrived, hundreds of ghosts would appear, which were actually the evil spirits of the figure's master. The young man's task was to guard the broken temple and prevent the angry-faced bodhisattva statue from being defiled. Success would earn him the ability to guard the house, implying he would gain the inheritance. Failure meant the ghosts would devour him, driving him insane and ending his martial arts path forever. The ancient figure dared him to flee if he was too weak. Water from the ceiling dropped on Ihi as he said rain began to fall. The statue's face seemed to come alive, announcing the trial had begun. He gripped the sword firmly. As lightning illuminated the stormy scene, hundreds of red shadowy figures emerged. Armed with a glowing sword, the young man leaped into action, battling the swarm of spirits. He internally reasoned that the trial wouldn't force him to fight unarmed against so many foes, confirming that the sword was likely one of the hidden aids provided. He fought dynamically, slashing through the ghostly forms. The ancient figure watched, identifying the ghosts as the evil spirits from the Wuyun trial left by his master. He scoffed at a mere martial artist daring to challenge the temple's protection, calling him foolish and stating he was seeking death. He sighed, lamenting the decline of martial artists with each generation and grumbling about having to collect the spirits himself every time someone failed. His attitude changed when he saw that the ghosts couldn't even approach the young man. He was utterly bewildered, demanding to know how the young man achieved this. Ihi, grinning widely, realized that the system in this spiritual realm was automatically protecting him, making him immune to the spirit's attacks. He let out a triumphant laugh, celebrating his seemingly invincible state within this space. He continued to cut down the ghosts with ease. The ancient figure was astonished that this kid was unaffected by the martial rhyme's disruptive effects, wondering aloud how he managed it. Ihi, with a smirk, replied with feigned diligence that there was no other reason. He simply studied hard and practiced diligently. Accepting Ihi's accomplishment in subduing the ghosts, the ancient figure stated he would fulfill his promise and pass on the inheritance, though whether Ihi could truly accept it remained to be seen. Ihi stood ready in the rain. The ancient figure pointed to a well, explaining that it contained the condensed essence of the evil spirit from his lifetime. He added that the technique called the devil in the flesh was also within the well, and the young man could refine it if he was capable. After hearing that he jumped in the well. Seeing that, the ancient figure commented on the young man's unique personality. A flashback revealed the ancient figure's past. He recalled being a hero in his prime, capable of conquering level secret realms. He explained that he had lived and ultimately met his end due to the technique the devil in the flesh. As he grew old, his power waned, and the suppressed evil spirits within him raged out of control, harming even those closest to him. To prevent more tragedy, he took his own life. Before dying, he infused his soul, tainted with vengeful spirits, with his martial rhyme and sealed it within the statue. He concluded by saying that while the evil spirits had weakened over time in the martial rhyme world, they were still beyond the capacity of a normal martial artist, implying that Ihi's performance was exceptional. He stated that successfully subduing the spirits would push Ihi far beyond his current limits on the path of cultivating the devil in the flesh. Back in the observation room, the girl and her mother were watching all this. The girl cried out to her mother, asking what was happening. Ihi was shown lying on the floor, enveloped in some kind of energy, appearing to be undergoing a transformation or experiencing intense feedback from the trial. After some time, the girl commented that when the young man Ihi first fell asleep, He wore a smug smile as if experiencing a pleasant dream. Now, however, he was suddenly twitching and bleeding profusely. The older woman, her mother, explained that this particular Xianhuang martial art, the third of its kind, was discovered by their grandfather late in his life. He had attempted to cultivate it even at his grandmaster level, but the martial arts within the statue directly rejected him, inflicting internal injuries. Since then, no one in the Lu family had successfully mastered this demanding art. She mused that achieving extraordinary power required enduring, unbearable hardship. Wearing the crown meant bearing its immense weight. As she watched Yi, she thought that since he chose to accept the martial arts power, then he must. Her thought was interrupted by a sudden realization. Back in the room with the statue, he sat up, seemingly revived. He thanked the ancient figure, the elder, for teaching him the martial art. The elder praised He as the most talented person he had ever encountered and entrusted him with the unfinished task of uncovering the truth of the secret realms, leaving it to the younger generation. However, confessed that the elder was mistaken and that he had simply cheated during the trial. He commented on the martial art he acquired, describing it as the flesh and blood imprisoned the demon. The body is like Shura. He noted that while his overall attributes hadn't increased, he had mastered the Xianhuang martial arts, doubling his combat power. Mother and daughter rushed into the room, asking if he had learned it. With a confident smirk, he confirmed that he had. The mother expressed her astonishment, explaining that even with her daughter Qingzu's talent, mastering a Xianhuang martial art would take a week without sleep in the martial realm space. Yet he had managed it in just about an hour right after falling asleep. She wondered if he truly learned it so quickly. Qingzhu, watching him, reflected that while others called her a genius, the true genius was standing right before her. Seeing their disbelief, he offered to give them a demonstration. Channeling energy, he ignited with a red fiery aura, identifying it as the evil spirit he had gained from the martial rhyme world. He likened it to a game enchantment that could be added to his martial energy for greater lethality. A powerful surge of energy radiated from him. Qingzhu felt the strong impact, hearing a faint ghost-like howl, and wondered if it was the evil spirit he had spoken of. Her mother gazed at he, visibly impressed and flustered, marveling at his capabilities. Qingzhu suggested that since he had already mastered one Xianhuang martial art, he might want to learn the other two as he still had the whole day. He declined, stating that one martial art was sufficient for him to absorb for a long time and he wouldn't learn others at the moment. He also made an excuse about being tired and having matters to attend to at home. The mother agreed and told Qingzhu to see him off. She then inquired if he had arrived on a shared bike. Then she offered him a car from the garage which would be more convenient. As Qingzhu and he prepared to leave, he recalled the motorcycle from earlier. He then asked the mother if she owned a motorcycle. She confirmed she did, and seeing his interest in motorbikes, offered him the best one from her troublesome son's collection, pleased that he shared her son's hobby. Elsewhere, the mother's troublesome son, having heard from the housekeeper Aunt Hong that his mother had invited a Livian son-in-law, was eager to see who this person was. He proudly thought about his sister, calling her a genius beauty rarely seen in their city, someone not everyone could match. Still fuming about the shared bike rider who had annoyed him earlier, he hoped that guy wouldn't cross his path again. Suddenly, he stopped in shock, realizing the motorcycle the person was riding was his own. He recognized the rider as the same annoying shared bike guy. Later, he was back at his own place. He prepared to eat some glowing crystals from a bowl, next to which sat a box and a bottle of sauce. He remembered the monster core he had consumed previously tasted bland and decided to add some sauce for flavor this time. He picked up a blue crystal with chopsticks, intending to eat that one first. His system interface displayed his stats, showing improvements and available points. He reflected on his supergiant humanoid template, noting that while it allowed him to reach 50 meters in the Redwood Mountain secret realm, it was still too small compared to the colossal creatures there. He decided he needed to increase his size and allocated points to the giant template. He then picked up a green monster core identified as being from a second-level demon vine and planned to consume it next. As he absorbed the core, blue energy surged around him. A system notification appeared. After absorbing the genetic sequence of a plant life form, a special mutation has been produced. Do you wish to prevent the template from mutating? He paused, contemplating the word mutation. He understood it meant his monster template would gain new attributes. While advantageous mutations were welcome, a disadvantageous one would be a negative change. Despite the risk, he quickly decided not to hesitate and accepted the mutation, seeing it as a gamble. Immediately, another system message confirmed. Congrats to the host, unlocked Shrank nuclear template. An intense burst of energy erupted from him, leaving him exhilarated. Another message followed, stating that when his Savage Trace Demora template reached 100 compatibility, there was a small chance of it transforming into something even more powerful, Monster Star Universe Demora. He was thrilled by the name, recognizing its immense potential. He realized he needed to quickly raise his current template's compatibility to 100 to achieve this ultimate form. Suddenly, a bright flash illuminated the sky outside his window. He turned, looking out with a confused expression, wondering if it was a terrorist attack. Outside, heavily armed police forces were deploying, shouting orders to seal off all exits in a park and to find their targets without leaving any corner unchecked. An armored vehicle with flashing lights was part of the operation. Inside his apartment, he heard a noise. He reasoned that the original owner of his body was reclusive and had no friends who would visit at this hour. He also hadn't ordered any food delivery or packages, so he wondered who could be outside. Suddenly, a figure in a sleek white form-fitting nano-battle suit with long dark hair flowing from her helmet landed silently on his window ledge. He asked her if she was the one who was making the commotion outside. The woman explained that her original plan was just to hide something in his apartment and conveniently alter his memory. However, since he had discovered her, she had no choice but to make him suffer a bit, warning him not to try and run away. He, looking down nonchalantly, commented that since he had plenty of savings, he might as well buy another house. The woman asked what he was talking about. He, with a determined expression and a backdrop of crackling energy, stated that he was saying she was already dead. Meanwhile, on a street, Zhou Yi was engaged in a firefight with the pursuing police. He managed to down one officer. The remaining officers noted that their opponent had revealed a flaw and moved to take him down. Zhou Yi, bloodied and with a crazed grin, urged his companion Yao Yimei to take the golden gene and escape, declaring that he would draw their fire. He laughed maniacally, inviting the officers to bring it on, proclaiming that trading his life for all of theirs was more than worth it. He then activated a blood-burning forbidden technique. In the same time, he launched a beam attack in his room at the girl. And suddenly something fell from the sky near Zhou Yi. It was the girl from before. Zhou Yi, seeing her, questioned why her nano-battle suit, originally white, now looked as black as charcoal. He reminded her that he had risked his life to let her take the item and leave, asking what was wrong with her. Yao Yimei informed Zhou Yi that she had hidden the item and they should retreat first. They then created a diversion with an explosion and escaped through a manhole cover into the sewers. They emerged in a desolate alleyway between tall buildings under a moonlit sky. Zhou Yi remarked that they had finally lost the cops. Yao Yimei, her nanosuit already repairing itself from the previous impact, confirmed this, noting the armor's regenerative capabilities. Just as they seemed safe, Yi appeared, stepping out from the shadows. He calmly asked the beautiful lady why she had broken into his house. Yi, with a knowing, almost predatory grin, told them they should have realized by now that they had a very serious problem. He explained that Zhou Yi had intended to randomly pick a lucky neighbor to hide in, but had unfortunately chosen him, the big boss. And as a reward for breaking into his house, Yi promised to make sure they all had some fun. Zhou Yi, shocked, demanded to know how he had found them. Yi could sense the nuclear radiation emanating from Yao Yimei's body, and with a confident smirk, told Zhou Yi that if he could fight, he should stop talking. Yi lunged at Zhou Yi, who declared it was the perfect time to test the strength of his flesh-bound demon technique on him. Yi unleashed a powerful red and blue energy attack. Zhou Yi, bracing himself, realized the situation was not good. The impact sent him flying and he coughed up blood. Yi, surrounded by swirling red energy, landed a devastating punch. Yao Yimei, watching in astonishment, commented on his amazing martial arts skills and asked him which master he had learned from. He casually replied that he was a disciple of Emperor Guangla. Yao Yimei, unfamiliar with the name, reflected that she never expected the small city of Anqing to be full of hidden masters. Zhou Yi, recovering, warned Yi not to get too cocky. He then transformed, his body contorting and growing into a monstrous blue-green heavily armored creature with a large horn and sharp claws, declaring himself a dignified six-tier martial artist, not someone a mere martial artist like Yi he could handle. The creature lunged at Yi with immense force. Yi, however, met the attack with a grin, remarking, "Now that's more like it." Suddenly, Yao Yimei reappeared, her nanosuit now glowing blue and partially transparent, revealing its stealth capabilities. She taunted Yi, stating he didn't expect her nanosuit to have such features, and declared herself the true attacker, launching a beam of energy at him from behind. Yi, without turning, simply uttered "Stay out of my way" and effortlessly deflected her attack with a casual wave of his hand, sending her flying and crashing into a wall. The transformed Zhou Yi, witnessing this, cursed Yao Yimei as a useless fool for failing even at an ambush and decided he would have to handle Yi himself. Yi, with glowing eyes and a confident smile, said, "Here we go," as the transformed Zhou Yi charged again, unleashing a powerful energy blast. Yi met the attack head-on. He was momentarily surprised by the significant increase in Zhou Yi's defensive power. The transformed Zhou Yi boasted that his true form, the iron-crowned rhinoceros demon beast, could effortlessly withstand even tank damage and questioned what he had that could break through. Yi, however, noted internally that not only had Zhou Yi's defense increased, but his attack power had surged even more. Zhou Yi then unleashed a powerful counterattack. The transformed Zhou Yi stood amidst the rubble of a destroyed building, taunting his opponent, calling him a little brat and claiming that no matter how arrogant, he was no match for him. He looked around, wondering where he had disappeared to. Suddenly, an immense, shadowy, blue-glowing beast with long, flowing tendrils and sharp claws materialized behind him, dwarfing him in size. Zhou Yi turned, exclaiming in shock at the sight. He questioned if this was a demonic beast or something the little brat had transformed into. The giant blue beast then unleashed a massive energy blast from its palm. Zhou Yi was caught in the torrent of energy, struggling against its force. The blast pushed him back, and he was completely enveloped by the brilliant blue light. The ground erupted where he stood. The giant blue beast then began to attack rapidly, creating a swirling vortex of blue energy. A system interface appeared, identifying the colossal figure as host, Yi, with a status of ultra-gigantic anthropomorphic form and an overall physical state that had increased significantly. Yao Yimei, who had recovered from being thrown into the wall, watched in terror, realizing the monster before her was indeed Yi. She thought that if the fight continued, she would surely be beaten to death and felt she couldn't escape. Yao Yimei, in her nanosuit, leaped into the air, spinning and unleashing glowing orange molecular lines from her armor. The monstrous form of Yi, he looked up as these lines, strong enough to cut through high-grade alloys, wrapped around its massive neck. Yao Yimei declared that even though Yi had become a giant through some genetic technique, he still possessed human weaknesses. The molecular lines sliced into the giant's neck. Yao Yimei landed gracefully, then used her molecular lines to slice through the giant monster's neck. The massive head of Yi, his beast form, toppled to the ground. Yao Yimei, looking at her handiwork, wondered if she had succeeded. Suddenly, a brilliant blue light erupted from the headless neck of the monster. Yao Yimei, terrified, could only utter a monster as she was engulfed in the blast. The energy beam shot upwards, piercing through the floors of the ruined building above. The last image in Yao Yimei's memory was of an endless, brilliant blue. Dust and smoke billowed out from the destruction. He, now back in his human form, stood amidst the rubble, with steam rising from his body. He coughed, then looked down at the injured Zhou Yi. He, with a cold expression, looked down at the defeated Zhou and said it was his turn. Zhou, battered and bleeding, called him a monster. He stated that it was only fair that those who kill should be prepared to be killed. Zhou, lying on the ground, lamented that he was finished and that since he was going to die anyway, he would take He down with him. He revealed that Yao Yimei, the woman he just killed, had hidden something in his room and that it was called the Golden Gene. With a final, crazed grin, he declared that it now belonged to He, who would be hunted endlessly because of it, and that he would be waiting for him in hell. He dismissed Zhou's dying words, telling him he talked too much, then delivered a final, crushing blow. He thought about the approaching cops and the need to deal with the body quickly. Looking at the extensive damage to the building, he mused that he might have gone too far this time. Later, back in his apartment, he was on the phone, asking her Aunt Chin how the police questioning went. She relayed that everything was fine now, but then expressed concern about He. He was looking at a text message conversation on his phone. One message stated that things hadn't been very peaceful lately, and that he should lay low until Huada University started. He had replied not to worry, that she knew him and he was the most well-behaved person ever. He mused that it was a good thing he had given Aunt Chin a heads up in advance. Otherwise, with his signature-level nuclear blast, the police would have definitely not overlooked him. He then looked at the strange device left behind by Zhou and Yao Yim. He identified it as the Golden Gene they had been talking about. He recognized a symbol on it, a stylized bird, as one he had seen before in the Prometheus file that a person from Huadu had given him. He identified it as the logo of Laserbird, a biotech giant. He surmised that the two intruders had stolen this item from Laserbird and were being hunted down during their escape. He then recalled Zhou's final words, realizing that Zhou had dumped the whole mess on him. He looked out his broken window, holding the Golden Gene device, and decided it was time to move. He planned to crash at a hotel for the night and figure things out from there. He then leaped out of the window into the night. The horde of monsters roared, led by the colossal beast. Atop its back, a throne-like structure was visible. The beast's multiple red eyes glowed menacingly. The ground trembled as a massive, spiky-crowned wolf-like creature emerged from the horde, standing over a pile of skulls. This was identified as a fifth-tier sovereign-class beast, a blood-eyed sin wolf. The adventurers panicked, shouting to notify the military that a sovereign-class beast was leading a massive beast hide. They exclaimed that the city wouldn't survive and that they must deploy grandmasters and senior grandmasters immediately. One of them cursed, wondering why a high-tier monster, which rarely leaves its own territory, was invading a low-tier zone. From the horde, a giant, ape-like creature with glowing red eyes emerged. Monster, it let out a deafening roar and a powerful, purple-glowing energy beam shot from its mouth, shaking the very ground. The ground rumbled as the beast tide advanced. Adventurers fled in terror, one shouting an emergency alert that a sovereign-class beast had appeared at Swan Lake and the beast tide was spreading. Another man, desperately trying to call for reinforcements on his radio, was cut down by one of the monsters. His radio crackled with a message confirming a sovereign incursion, but there was no one left to respond. The ape-like monster with glowing red eyes let out a deafening roar, ordering full speed ahead. As the entire horde of beasts surged forward, creating a massive, swirling vortex of purple energy that transported them to a new location, they emerged with a thunderous boom, appearing before a massive army of soldiers and martial artists. Alarms blared as news of the massive beast tide from the Swan Lake realm heading toward In-City spread. The ETA was 20 minutes, and military forces had been deployed to the front lines. A general call went out for all martial artists in In-City to aid in the defense. At a train station, citizens were urged not to panic, but priority was given to children and students for evacuation, as they were the city's future and must survive if the city fell. In the mayor's office, a man asked if she had requested reinforcements. The mayor's assistant replied that it wasn't just In-City. Beast tide warnings were coming in nationwide, and every city was overwhelmed. Even cities without beast incursions were building defenses, and no one was coming to help. The mayor asked about Wadu, wondering if they couldn't even send one grandmaster. His assistant informed him that Wadu's neighboring Guanshan city was facing an Sklas realm outbreak, and all their high-rankers were deployed there. The mayor slammed his fist on his desk in frustration, then, with a look of grim determination, declared that there was no time to waste. The battle for An City had begun, and they would have to rely on themselves. In a dojo, a young man sparred with another man with blue hair. He dodged an attack and landed a solid punch on his opponent, sending him stumbling back. He commented that his opponent took the punch well. The blue-haired man asked when he had learned the black tortoise style, and he replied that head started a month ago and was still rough around the edges. The blue-haired man then wondered if he had seriously gotten weaker in just 1 month, but he corrected him, saying it wasn't that he had gotten weaker, but that he had gotten freakishly strong. Suddenly, an alert sounded. A message announced that something had happened at An City, and a beast-tide alert had been triggered. Priority boarding was given to An City University prep students, who were instructed to evacuate immediately via flights or trains. The blue-haired man, looking at the evacuation alert, he asked Boy if he was thinking of leaving. Boy countered, asking if he was staying, and added that with his talent he should run. The blue-haired man became sentimental, to which Iha replied that if he was staying, there was only one thing left to say. Iha, with a determined grin, declared, "Fight." At a luxurious estate, Chinju rushed to her mother, announcing her intention to join the defense effort. Her mother calmly asked what her odds of coming back alive were. She explained that there were only 30,000 martial artists in the city, and even with retired veterans and volunteers, they would barely have 50,000. Against a beast tide of this size, they were like boats in a tsunami, destined to be swallowed whole. Furthermore, An City couldn't stop a sovereign-class beast on its own. Only grandmasters stood a chance. She reminded Chinju that her life didn't belong to her alone, but to their family. Chinju, with a defiant look, retorted that a martial family that couldn't fight monsters didn't deserve to survive. She then left. Later, the mother, seated in an ornate chair, was approached by her housekeeper, Aunt Hong. She informed Aunt Hong that they were leaving An City. As she lit a cigarette, Aunt Hong asked what about that boy. She then instructed Aunt Hong to send him a message and let him decide for himself. At the Swan Lake Secret Realm, a large crowd of martial artists, both young and old, had gathered to face the beast tide. One man asked another, Old Chin, why he was there at 60 years old instead of getting his granddaughter to safety. Old Chin retorted that if a cripple could come, why couldn't he, since he still had all his limbs? Elsewhere in the crowd, a man laughed, remarking that he couldn't believe they were fighting off a beast tide together again after 20 years. His companion, an old man with a prosthetic leg, Riley replied that it had indeed been 20 years since Head lost his leg in the last one. Another man asked his friend Old Zhang if he was going to retire at his son's place in Panluo after this was over, calling him a country bumpkin. Old Zhang replied that he would stay in An City, play chess with him, and that he was born there and might as well die there too. The fighters then charged into battle, clashing with the monstrous beasts. At the entrance to the Swan Lake Secret Realm, military forces had set up a formidable line of defense with massive cannons and fighter jets. An officer declared that they were An City's final line of defense and that not a single beast must break through. The mayor, addressing his troops, explained that 60 of An City's military and all martial artists ranked warrior and above had entered the secret realm as a vanguard. Their task was to gather intel on the beast tide, especially the strength and abilities of any lord-class or sovereign-class monsters. He urged them to make it out alive to report back. Suddenly, a bloodied and battered soldier stumbled out of the portal, groaning in pain before collapsing. Medics rushed to his aid as he fell to the ground with a thud. The mayor rushed to the fallen soldier, who, with his last breath, handed him a USB drive containing all the Vanguard unit's battle data. The mayor, distraught, asked where the others were. The soldier replied that they were all dead. The mayor, cradling the dying soldier, cried out in anguish, asking how this could have happened. The soldier, with tears streaming down his face, explained that the beast tide had crushed everything, leaving nothing behind, not even the bodies. He warned the mayor to be careful of the blood-eyed black ape, as it had set them up. He lamented that, if not for the ape's trap, at least a few thousand of them could have made it out alive. He then succumbed to his injuries. A massive, rocky projectile was launched from the beast horde, hurtling towards the city, crashed into a skyscraper, causing a massive explosion. Debris rained down on the streets below. The mayor, realizing the beast's true intention, cried out that its target was the landmines beneath the tower. A series of massive explosions erupted at the base of the city's defensive structures, with the mayor exclaiming that the beasts were trying to blow up the unfinished defenses. The mayor, enraged, ordered his forces to fire everything they had back at the secret realm and blow the monsters to hell. The city's defenses unleashed a barrage of missiles and energy beams. The mayor noted with disbelief that the beasts weren't even sending their own troops, but were instead weakening them with long-range attacks. He wondered since when monsters use tactics like humans. Cursing the beasts, he watched as a second wave of stone projectiles emerged from the portal, this time in greater numbers. The city's defenses fired at the incoming projectiles, but the explosions rocked the front line. The first wave of monsters, large, winged beasts with multiple red eyes, descended upon the soldiers, who shouted that they were under attack. The creatures roared as they clashed with the human forces, tearing through their ranks. The mayor ordered his forces to intercept the incoming stone spikes, which were tearing through their rear lines like artillery. Despite their efforts, the spikes rained down, causing massive explosions. The ape-like beast, sensing humanity's weakening resolve, roared an order to its soldiers to trample the land until nothing was left standing. The massive beast tide surged forward with a deafening doom-filled stomp. The battle raged on, with the city's forces desperately fighting against the overwhelming beast tide. Tanks fired upon the massive creatures, but the monsters were relentless, tearing through the human defenses. From a rooftop overlooking the chaos, Aihe watched the destruction, wondering what would become of the city after this day. Aihe, with a determined look, declared that he had grown fond of City and would not let a bunch of monsters destroy the good life he had fought to build. He then leaped into action, his body crackling with energy as he transformed into a monstrous, draconic form. Meanwhile, in the city the battle continued. One fighter praised another, Brother Luo, for taking down 5 beasts already. Brother Luo, with a powerful, glowing blue kick, dispatched another monster, commenting not bad. A nearby girl with blonde pigtails scoffed, mocking him for showing off after a few low-tier kills and questioning his claim to be City's number 1 at 3rd high. Just then, a figure landed nearby. It was Chu Zhou, holding a glowing blue core. The blonde girl asked him if he had soloed a 3rd-tier beast. Chu Zhou, looking at the group, said he didn't think he'd run into them there and asked why they hadn't evacuated. Chu Zhou explained that their parents were martial artists fighting on the front lines, and as their kids, they couldn't run. Suddenly, he shouted for Chu Zhou to watch out as a large piece of debris hurtled towards him. Chu Zhou calmly turned. The others watched in amazement as a tank fell from the sky, with one of them asking who the hell dropped a tank in here. Chu Zhou, with a flick of his wrist, Chu Zhou sliced the debris in half with a glowing blue energy blade from his sword. The 2 halves crashed harmlessly to the ground. The blonde girl recognized the new monster as the Lord-class beast that had come out first and wondered how it had made it to their rear lines. Chu Zhou told them to calm down, explaining that it wasn't a Lord-class beast, as its size and aura didn't match. The creature lunged at them, but Chu Zhou met its attack head-on, exclaiming that it was an elite. With a powerful, glowing blue energy blast, he stopped monster. He, in his monstrous form, effortlessly dispatched another beast. He then landed on the head of a massive, furry creature and, with a wicked grin, declared it was time for some dental care. He reached into the creature's mouth, commenting on its foul stench and wondering how many people it had eaten. He then announced that he would give it a proper rinse. He unleashed a torrent of blue energy from his hands, blasting it into the creature's mouth. The energy surged through the beast's body, causing it to glow brightly before exploding from within. Seeing one of the monsters turn on another, one of the fighters suggested they run away while they were distracted. Chu Zhou, however, told him to calm down, revealing that the attacking monster was actually Yi. The other fighters were shocked, unable to believe that the small beast was Yi. Chu Zhou confirmed it, adding that with Yi there, the city might just survive. Yi, in his monster form, stood atop the vanquished beast's carcass. He then addressed Chu Zhou, telling him he was leaving this zone to him and would go reinforce the other fronts. With a powerful leap, he shot into the sky like a rocket, leaving a trail of blue energy behind him. Yi, in his monstrous form, scanned the city from above, searching for where the beasts were clustered the most. He quickly found them and swooped down. The soldiers on the ground were firing at a massive, spiky, elephant-like creature, but their bullets were having no effect. One of them shouted that guns were useless and ordered them to use their bayonets. The soldiers then charged forward with their bladed weapons. The soldiers charged at the beasts with their bayonets, but they were quickly overwhelmed. The monsters tore through their ranks, impaling them on their sharp spikes and crushing them underfoot. One soldier cried out to his captain that they couldn't hold the line any longer, that they were just regular soldiers and couldn't take on these monsters. The captain, however, ordered them to keep holding the line. He then charged forward, stabbing at a beast with his glowing blue blade. The captain rallied his troops, declaring that as soldiers, their deaths would buy time for civilians to escape. Suddenly, shadowy, red glowing figures appeared, and one soldier wondered if they were martial artists. The creatures, however, were not allies, as they quickly dispatched a smaller beast. The massive elephant-like monster then unleashed a torrent of these shadowy figures from its mouth, which swarmed the soldiers. Glowing blue beamed down on the elephant beast's head, causing a massive wound. The beasts roared as Yi, in his monstrous form, unleashed a powerful, cleansing blue energy beam that swept across the battlefield, obliterating a large number of the monsters. The story then shifts to other battlefronts, where the city continues to burn under the relentless assault of the beast tide. The beasts on the battlefield suddenly began to move as one. A fighter wondered if they were reinforcements, but another corrected him, saying it felt like they were all moving toward one location. Someone then exclaimed that it was Yi, and city's top scholar, who had entered the battlefield. The beasts were swarming him from every direction. The fighter declared that they couldn't let him be overrun and that they had to move out because Yi, still just a kid, was in city's last hope. With renewed determination, the fighters rallied, with one shouting an order to snipe the monsters and protect their top scorer. Yi unleashed a powerful energy beam, carving a path of destruction through the beast horde. The battlefield was littered with the carcasses of slain monsters. Glowing blue energy beam shot out from Yi. A fighter shouted a warning that a Lord-class beast had locked onto Yi and that they needed to protect him. Another fighter, a woman with a determined expression, declared that if the beasts wanted to kill the pride of City, they would have to go through her first. The fighters rallied, shouting that they were saved and that humanity would win. They urged each other to hold the line, as reinforcements were almost there. A massive, horned beast with glowing purple eyes charged forward, but it was repelled by a powerful, glowing orange energy barrier that erupted from the ground, covering the city. The mayor, floating in the air, declared that the Earth Vein Seal wouldn't stop all the primal beasts and that they needed to take down the sovereign to end the beast tide. A white-furred beast lunged at the mayor, who gathered glowing orange energy in his hands and unleashed a powerful beam, blasting the creature away. The ape-like sovereign beast, watching the battle from afar, let out a startled exclamation as it witnessed the mayor's power. A massive, python-like beast, identified as a fourth-tier, king species, Lord-class mountain-crushing python, rose from the horde. The mayor, recognizing it as the Blood-Eye's strongest mount, surmised that the ape sovereign must be getting nervous. He then leaped into the air, gathering energy and unleashing a powerful attack called the mountain-crushing Dominator Hammer, bringing it down on the python's head. The mayor's attack created a massive explosion, but the python emerged from the rubble, its multiple glowing green eyes fixed on him. The mayor taunted, saying he knew he was good with Earth-type attacks and that he was using it for a reason. He then revealed that the monster had fallen for his bait. The mayor unleashed another powerful attack, Burst Martial, Serpent Surge, sending a torrent of golden energy towards the beast. The mayor's outer peak earthquake strike wounded the massive python. As the beast writhed in pain, the earth vein seal shattered, and the ground erupted in a series of massive explosions. The sovereign ape beast emerged from the portal, towering over the ruined city. The mayor, floating amidst the destruction, mused that it was a good thing he had intel on the mountain-crushing python, as the casualties would have been off the charts otherwise. He then taunted the sovereign ape beast, saying that if it had completely entered the city, he would hardly be able to weaken it, but since it was only showing its head, it was just asking to be slaughtered. He then charged forward, his body sprouting multiple glowing orange arms as he unleashed a flurry of attacks on the massive python. The massive python, with its multiple glowing green eyes, endured the mayor's multi-armed assault. It then retaliated, its body bristling with sharp, stone-like spikes. The mayor, impressed, commented that, as expected of a king-species beast, it could even grow stone spikes out of its body. Suddenly, the sovereign ape beast emerged from one of the stone spikes, ambushing the mayor. As it grabbed him, it taunted the foolish human, asking what he thought he was doing to its mount. The mayor, shocked, realized that the blood-eyed black ape had been hiding inside the stone spike. The sovereign ape beast declared that it would crush the mayor's skull to show everyone how insignificant humans were. It then slammed its massive fist down, creating a powerful shockwave. The sovereign ape beast, noting the flash of the explosion, declared that it had confirmed that the city had no strong martial artists left, and that it could now kill everyone without restraint. The mayor, however, remained defiant. He gathered a swirling vortex of golden, blade-like energy around him, unleashing a powerful blade wind attack that struck the massive ape. The sovereign ape beast, unfazed by the mayor's blade wind tempest, taunted him, saying his resistance was meaningless and that he was just delaying the inevitable. The ape declared that on this battlefield, it no longer had a natural enemy, and the conflict had become a game to make humanity drown in fear and despair. It relished the thought of seeing the strongest humans wearing looks of hopelessness and fear. The ape then effortlessly deflected the mayor's attack, commenting that it was fast but still too weak. The sovereign ape beast, after deflecting the mayor's attack, commented that it was powerful but too slow. It then unleashed a series of devastating attacks, leveling entire city blocks. The ape then appeared before the mayor, who was struggling to stay on his feet. The beast ordered him to kneel, stating that it didn't tolerate lower creatures looking it in the eye. The mayor, defiant, stared back at the beast. Beast attack and send mayor to ground. Then he look at mayor but mayor look up, glaring at beast. The sovereign ape beast, surprised by the mayor's lack of fear, asked him why he wasn't afraid. The mayor, with a defiant grin, replied that the beast, for all its cleverness, had miscalculated, because it was just an arrogant beast. He then unleashed a powerful blood-forbid dance technique, his body glowing with a fiery orange energy. The sovereign ape beast, caught in the mayor's fiery vortex, realized it had been lured into a formation laid out in advance. The ground cracked and crumbled, and a massive chasm opened up, swallowing the beast. The mayor, floating above the pit, looked down as the beast mocked his plan to bury it underground, calling him naive. The sovereign ape beast, trapped in the chasm, declared that the mayor couldn't keep it sealed forever, and that the moment he faltered, it would tear every human there to shreds. The mayor, however, scoffed, saying this wasn't a backup plan. He then tore open his shirt, revealing a glowing red star on his chest, and declared that this was a hymn to humanity and a hymn to courage. The ape, confused, asked what he was doing. The mayor revealed that at the start of the war, he had buried in cities one and only strategic nuclear warhead beneath the battlefield. He then showed the beast a device implanted in his heart, explaining that it was the trigger and that if his heart stopped, the warhead would detonate. The ape, enraged, accused him of bluffing, saying no one would bet their life on something like that and that it wouldn't fall for it. The mayor, with a look of grim determination, replied that he never planned to walk away from this. The mayor, his body glowing with a fiery aura, recalled a time when he stood before a crowd, declaring himself Huangqing, the mayor of an city, and offering his everything for his city and its people. With a final, serene thought that he had finally done enough, he unleashed a massive explosion, sacrificing himself to destroy the sovereign ape beast. The city was rocked by the blast. A massive mushroom cloud rose from the city, a gravestone for the fallen. On a phone, a message read, "A towering mushroom cloud rose like a gravestone from the earth." The surviving soldiers and martial artists watched in silence, tears streaming down their faces as they saluted their fallen mayor. A towering mushroom cloud rose like a gravestone from the earth. Every martial artist who had received the evacuation signal in time stood in reverent silence. It was a funeral worthy of legends. The entire battlefield was engulfed in a massive, fiery explosion, leaving a landscape of destruction and skeletal remains. A new, golden energy core, shaped like a spiky sphere, formed amidst the flames. The golden, spiky energy core descended into a massive skeleton lying amidst the rubble. Purple, fleshy tendrils began to writhe and envelop the bones, reforming a grotesque, monstrous creature. The newly formed monster, holding the glowing core in its chest, expressed disbelief that it was nearly taken out by a lowly human. From the smoke and debris, the sovereign ape beast also emerged, enraged. It vowed to slaughter every last person in the city. The sovereign ape beast declared its intent to torture every human to death in the most brutal way imaginable. The newly formed skeletal monster, however, decided to retreat to the Sin domain, the place where the beasts came from, vowing to return and raze the city to the ground once it had recovered its blood and chi. As it turned to leave, Ihi asked where it thought it was going. Suddenly Ihi, in his full, monstrous form, appeared before the skeletal creature. The ape sovereign recognized him as a terrifying prodigy and one of the greatest threats to their invasion. Ihi, with a determined look, declared that he had found the beast at last. Though it was a shame he was a little too late. He then lunged at the skeletal monster, his body crackling with blue energy. Ihi unleashed a giant energy blast fist attack, which the sovereign ape beast met with its own power. The ape taunted the foolish human genius for arrogantly standing before it instead of hiding. It then lunged at Ihi, declaring this the perfect chance to kill him. Ihi, with a confident smirk, replied that if he had run, Ihi's mini-nuke probably wouldn't have been able to catch him. But since he was so eager to die, he would oblige. The ape, enraged, cursed the damn human. Ihi, in his monstrous form, unleashed a powerful, blue energy beam from his mouth, engulfing the sovereign ape beast in a massive explosion that ripped through the city. From a distance, one of the fighters watched in shock, wondering why another warhead had just gone off. One of the fighters wondered what was happening, speculating if it was another trap set by the mayor. Another fighter commented that the mayor had really thought of everything. From the smoke and debris, the sovereign ape beast emerged, battered but still alive. It looked at the massive, draconic form of Ihi and uttered "monster" as it recognized the armored titan. The skeletal monster, looking at Ihi, exclaimed that he was more beastly than it and that even most king-rank beasts didn't carry an aura like his. He taunted the sovereign ape beast, saying he was not like those bald chimps. He then unleashed a powerful claw attack, but the ape easily dodged it. He then, telling the little monkey it was no use to run, unleashed a devastating mountain-shifting, sea-flooding strike. The sovereign ape beast, enraged, declared that it shouldn't be underestimated. It then unleashed a powerful purple energy attack, but Ihi, in his monstrous form, easily deflected it. Ihi acknowledged the ape's resilience, commenting that even though it was now skinny, twitchy, and injured, it was a sovereign-class beast to the end. He then mused that his own physique in Titan mode had surpassed 30 points across the board, yet he still couldn't completely overpower the ape, which had even managed to damage his arm. Ihi, however, acknowledged that it wasn't enough. The skeletal beast, shocked that Ihi had healed from its last full-force strike, realized it couldn't defeat this genius. In a panic, it tried to flee, repeatedly thinking that it couldn't win. As it ran, it was suddenly struck by a powerful blast of energy from above. It was Ihi, now in a more humanoid but still monstrous form, who declared that the filthy beast didn't deserve to stain Mayor Huangqing's sacrifice. He then unleashed a devastating radiant pulse strike, engulfing the skeletal creature in a torrent of blue energy. Ihi's powerful energy beam completely disintegrated the skeletal monster, which, with its last breath, cursed the damn human genius. Ihi, surveying the ruined city, commented that the sovereign ape beast had burrowed underground and played dead, successfully escaping. Ihi reasoned that the ape's feigning of death meant it was afraid of being found and was suffering from unprecedented injuries, making this the best chance to kill it. He mused that overlord-level magic beasts could completely conceal their presence and that if he had located it earlier, Mayor Huang might not have had to sacrifice himself. But now that the beast was gravely injured, even with its concealment, he could still sense a faint trace of its life force. He then slammed his monstrous hand down on the ground, unleashing a powerful energy wave. Ihi, having found the ape beast, taunted it before unleashing a powerful blue energy beam from his mouth. The skeletal monster, as it was being destroyed, lamented that it had been so close to the entrance of the Sin domain and cursed the mayor's trap. It was then get punched by Ihi, and monster crashed to ground. Ihi, in his monstrous form, declared that this was the price for defiling Mayor Huang, and that he would make the ape wish it were dead. The skeletal monster, defiant, told Ihi not to push his luck. It then gathered all its remaining energy into its core, vowing to burn the last of it to drag Ihi to hell. The sovereign ape beast, seeing its opportunity, also charged, shouting for Ihi to die. However, Ihi was unfazed, and with a powerful blast of energy punch, blocked the attack. Ihi, injured but not defeated, taunted the sovereign ape beast, saying that after its desperate attack, it had reached its end. As he prepared to unleash another blast of energy, he was suddenly struck by a psychic attack. A voice taunted him, and he realized there was another expert nearby. The ground erupted with a forest of grasping hands, which seized the ape beast, with a voice telling it not to think it could escape. The ape, seeing its chance, turned on Ihi, who was also being restrained by the hands. It remarked that the hands were growing out of the joints and that its body was locked and couldn't move. Ihi, however, scoffed, declaring that they couldn't trap him. Ihi, his body crackling with blue flames, declared that the ape beast would taste the burn of flames at 1,000 degrees. The beast, realizing it was almost at the entrance to its domain, was suddenly engulfed in the flames. As it was consumed, it looked up in surprise, as if seeing something unexpected. Ihi, surrounded by blue flames, watched as a new, massive, shadowy creature with glowing blue energy appeared, its form still indistinct. A voice wondered what this new creature was and if it was also a magic beast. The creature, with its terrifying power, was identified as an overlord. One of the fighters mused that if it appeared in its true form, he'd probably be on his knees in the very first second. The new overlord beast, its eyes glowing with a fiery energy, was suddenly consumed by a brilliant blue light. He, still in a monstrous form, clutched his head in pain, remarking that he had blocked the giant anthropomorphic's hearing. Yet the eerie scream still reached his mind. After that monster start to leave, Ihi, struggling to his feet, questioned the beast's intention to leave after killing so many people. With a roar, he declared that the beast was dreaming and unleashed a powerful torrent of blue lightning, striking the beast's multiple heads and causing them to explode. He then gave the defeated beast the middle finger. With a final taunt, Ihi offered the beast a local specialty from our hometown, a nuke, hoping it would like it. He then unleashed a massive, explosive energy beam, completely obliterating the sovereign ape beast. From a distance, the fighters watched as the rift in the secret realm exploded. They noted that the beasts were suddenly behaving chaotically and wondered if Mayor Huang's plan had succeeded. They rallied, vowing not to let the mayor's sacrifice be in vain and believing that Incite might be saved. The carcass of the blood-eye black ape was finally destroyed by the giant nuke, halting the flow of beasts from the secret realm rift into Incite. the remaining martial artists began mopping up the roaming beasts within the city. The siege lasted a full day and night, until every beast was hunted down. The exhausted fighters finally ceased. The siege of Incite was won, but at a devastating cost. Nearly 80 of the fighters and soldiers were killed or wounded. Chu Zhou, battered and bloody, sat amidst the rubble, his sword planted in the ground before him. At the site of the previous nuclear blast in the Swan Lake secret realm, He regained consciousness, wondering how long had been out. He reflected that he had poured all his energy into the giant anthropomorphic nuclear blast, but since the area was already saturated with nuclear radiation and residual fission energy, it was as if he had recharged himself on the spot. He acknowledged that the battle had been brutal, and that it was only thanks to Mayor Huang luring the blood-eye black ape into the blast zone that he was able to use the home field advantage to continuously self-destruct and finally blow up the ape before it could be rescued. He admitted that even with his strong infinite monster template, he still couldn't match an overlord-class beast, and that winning had been a combination of sheer luck, advantages and fate. He mused that, given enough time, he could reach the peak of martial power in the Xia Nation, but the secret realm riot had left him no time for growth. He didn't know when the next template draw would be or if it would even be rare. He concluded that merging with the Cosmic Emperor template was his fastest route to becoming top tier. To do this, he needed to collect plant element magic cores compatible with the template. He also realized that he needed to master cosmic martial arts skills, as his infinite monster template allowed him to cheat in the martial resonance space. He acknowledged that while the growth period for martial arts skills was slower compared to template abilities, its potential was extraordinary. Looking out over the ruined city at the rising sun, he thought that perhaps being transported here was part of his destiny. 1 month after the siege of N City, a massive statue of the late Mayor Huang Qing stood in a park. He sat on a bench, looking at news on his phone. 18 cities across the Xia Nation had been attacked by beast tides, and 12 had fallen completely. Among them, Guanshan City saw Ensclass' secret realm appear, shrouded in an impenetrable gray mist. The National Martial Organization, Great Xia Dragon, had dispatched 30 warriors and 5 grandmasters, led by Grandmaster Du Jingming, to investigate. He noted that this beast-tide invasion was unusual, with the appearance of Ensclass' secret realm. The Xia Nation's strongest nation guardian martial artist, Fu Hongxing, had been delayed at the edge of the secret realm, so he had personally entered Guanshan City. After 8 hours, he emerged severely wounded, accompanied by only 2 surviving grandmasters. Subsequently, the Xia Nation designated Guanshan City the 11th life-prohibited zone globally, with 18 million citizens confirmed lost. He, contemplating the news, realized that even a nation guardian-level artist had been so severely wounded. He felt that he couldn't wait any longer for humanity's survival on Blue Star. He then decided to ask Aunt Qin for a favor. Aunt Qin, reclining on a plush red couch, asked He if he wanted to learn the 2 remaining cosmic martial arts skills of the Liu family. He, on the phone, clarified that that wasn't it and that he had another request. He asked for her help in acquiring some high-quality plant element magic cores, ideally blue cores or even purple lord-class ones. Aunt Qin noted that plant-type magic beasts were already rare and lord-class cores were extremely precious, commenting on his grand ambitions. She then asked what he could offer in return. He proposed that he could team up with Lu Qingzhu at Huadu University's freshman opening secret realm exam and help her get first place. Aunt Qin, however, cautioned him not to underestimate the prodigies from other provinces, stating that even Qingzhu's strength had only ever reached mid-high tier among past freshmen at Imperial Capital University, never top tier. She added that while he had outperformed Qingzhu in sparring, he was still short of the top geniuses. He countered, pointing out that she had chosen to entrust the Liu family's resurgence to him. He then offered to sign an IOU, promising that if Qingzhu and he didn't win first place, he would serve the Liu family in any role, even doing menial tasks and caring for Aunt Qin when she retired. Aunt Qin, amused by his offer to serve her, got up from the couch and, with a final look, agreed to help him this one time. He arrived at an City Central Hospital, where he was immediately swarmed by a crowd of fans. They exclaimed that he had killed so many monsters and was still totally fine, calling him the martial top scorer. They asked for his autograph and his contact information. Ihi, surprised by his sudden popularity, politely declined. He then went to visit Chojo, who was completely wrapped in bandages. He teased Chojo for all the gifts he had received from his fans. Suddenly, a voice greeted Ihi. It was Luo Qian, his first opponent in the promotion match, now in a hospital bed with his leg amputated. He was taken aback, and Luo Qian joked about him forgetting so soon. Luo Qian, noticing Ihi's expression, told him not to look at him like that his leg was still there in a sense, and that he could get limb regeneration surgery or a prosthetic from Laserbird. Ihi admired Luo Qian for his sacrifice in defending the city. His phone then rang and he blocked it, annoyed by the nuisance calls. Phone then rang again. It was his principal, Old Deng, who scolded him for blocking a big shot from Huadu and ordered him to unblock them immediately. He, with a look of resignation, agreed. On the phone, a man named Wang Tao from the admissions office of Imperial Capital University informed Ihi that Huadu University would be opening 1 month early and that a special train would pick him up in 3 days. Wang Tao asked if he had any requests, but before Ihi could reply, another teacher, Teacher Lu from Huadu University, called Chu Zhou to make arrangements. Luo Qian, realizing he was sharing a hospital room with 2 top students, joked to himself that he belonged under the bed. He then decided there was one more thing he needed to do before reporting in. A few days later, at the Swan Lake nuclear blast site, the sky was shrouded in thick ash, turning the world below into perpetual night. He, in his monstrous form, rose from a lake, his body crackling with energy. He then transformed back into a more humanoid but still monstrous form, and a system interface appeared, displaying his improved stats. He reflected that after the battle with the Blood-Eye Black Ape, his Wild Trace's Cosmic Emperor, template sync had increased by 15, which was extremely high. Combined with the residual nuclear radiation and atomic fissure energy in the area, the site was a true cultivation sanctuary. After 3 days of training, his sync had increased by another significant 6 points. He then decided he needed to go. Unfortunately, he had drawn too much attention. At the train station, an announcement blared that train G6666 to Huadu West Station would be departing in 5 minutes. Chuzhou stood on the platform with his luggage, ready to depart. Suddenly, Chuzhou exclaimed that Ihi had arrived. A figure landed on the platform, and Ihi, relieved that he had made it in time, looked up at Chuzhou. A girl exclaimed that it was Ihi. A nearby man, startled, remarked that the wave of oppression had scared him to death, thinking another high-tier beast had arrived. Chuzhou, however, noted that terrifying aura, even a high-tier martial artist lighting the battle blood and chi smoke wouldn't feel this oppressive. Truly, Ihi was the pride of Incity. Chuzhou, with a small smile, commented that Ihi had gotten stronger again. Ihi, looking at Chuzhou, said that they were about to leave Incity, his first stop and point of origin since crossing over. With a final farewell, Incity, he boarded the train. As the train departed, he, with a determined look, declared, "Let's go to Huadu." On the train, Chuzhou asked Ihi to be a little more serious. He asked if all the students on the train were top scorers. Chuzhou confirmed this, adding that the train itself was made of advanced materials and could withstand impacts of several thousand tons. He also mentioned that the escorts on the train included no less than 5 warriors and possibly even Grandmaster-level experts. He mused that he had used life sense to sniff them out and that while there were a few strong ones, only 5 could survive 3 moves in his hands. Suddenly, an alarm blared, announcing a level 1 alert, and that the Huadu train was under attack by an unknown enemy. A level 1 alert blared through the train, announcing that it was under attack by unknown enemies. The message instructed professors and faculty to investigate, while students were to evacuate their compartments immediately. One student mused that it might just be a drill, but another pointed out that with the Xia nation at its weakest, with many high-ranking martial artists injured or missing, it was only natural for previously suppressed nations and factions to be stirring restlessly. Chuzhou asked Ihi what he thought they should do. Ihi, annoyed that his nap was being interrupted, got up and, with a grin, decided to go see what was going on. He opened the door to the next compartment, where He urged the students to hang in there. Suddenly, a battered and bloody student, identified as freshman Zhou Jingxian, stumbled out. He explained that the enemies had already overrun the first 3 compartments and that they controlled a special domain that could pull people into a separate space, with terrifying enemies chasing everyone down. Zhou Jingxian continued his warning, explaining that the warrior teachers protecting them were almost all dead or wounded, and they had worked together to send him out to warn the others that this was not a drill. Another student, however, was skeptical, asking for proof of the danger. He questioned why Zhou Jingxian was the only one who got out, mentioning that he had a friend up ahead who was strong enough to compete for top freshman. It was freshman Yan Jingxiang, a large, muscular man with wild blonde hair, also expressed his disbelief. The skeptical student, pointing to Zhou Jingxian, said this made sense, as if it didn't seem believable. Yan Jingxiang then declared that he was heading to the front. The other students followed, ignoring Zhou Jingxian's pleas not to walk to their deaths. As he turned to leave, Zhou Jingxian was approached by He, who confirmed his identity. As Zhou Jingxian began to warn him about the danger, He's eyes glowed, sensing an anomaly in the student's life field. He asked how the student knew him. Zhou Jingxian explained that a girl named Lu Qingzhu had shown him a photo and told him to find He and warn him not to go to the front compartments, no matter what. He asked if that was what she said, and Zhou Jingxian confirmed it, adding that she had taken a heavy slash protecting him. Tears streaming down his face, Zhou Jingxian lamented that he couldn't stop the others from getting themselves killed, but he had promised Qingzhu that he would make sure He survived. He then interrupted him by punching him, scolding him for talking about her dying wish when she wasn't even dead yet. As He and Chu Zhou prepared to head to the front, the skeptical student asked if they were still going. He replied that of course he was, as he had promised her parents. He then turned to leave, but Zhou Jingxian, desperate, blocked his way, vowing not to let him through. He, annoyed, taunted Zhou Jingxian for his pathetic look and questioned how he had even gotten into Huadu. Zhou Jingxian, still trying to stop them, cried out that he was trying to save them and couldn't understand why they were so unreasonable. He insisted that someone as refined as Qingzhu couldn't possibly know 2 brutes like them. He, tired of the nonsense, punched Zhou Jingxian, who was shocked by the powerful force, acknowledging that it was totally out of his league. He apologized, gave him a blood essence pill and told Chu Zhou to go. Zhou Jingxian, with his last bit of strength, pleaded with them not to go. They arrived at a glowing purple portal at the end of the corridor, which He identified as the entrance to the separate space the freshman had mentioned. To test it, He tossed a suitcase into the portal. He, finding no response from the portal, decided to go in himself. He was pulled into the separate space, a dizzying void of purple energy. When he came to, he wondered where Chu Zhou had gone, as they had come in together. Seeing a light ahead, he decided to head for it first. He emerged into a desolate, ruined cityscape, wondering what this freaky place was. He, finding his life field unresponsive, realized it was being blocked by the strange place. He then used his old method, he them jump on rooftop and make massive explosion. He taunted whatever was out there, telling it not to play ghost games with him and to explode for him.